Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I found some really neat, kind of interesting. I found it in Northern Alliance among the barbarians. Didn't know about that.
Good, good, because I'm going to be honest, this is the least amount of research I've done for Legends and Lore in a long time.
Okay,
I've just been so
I've
busy.
stepped up and done a little bit, and,
Awesome.
and I have some. So and I found at least one more democracy. Never knew that existed, and one of the least.
I know the Yeomanry. I know about the Yeomanry, but I don't know
exactly.
about
That's the one I knew too. That was the obvious one. But there's one other that sort of, as much as fantasy or Greyhawk goes, it's democracy. It's used the word democracy. So Gary Hoolian should know because he written the book about it.
Cool.
So there's some, And I'm going to announce a secret project. I'm going to show a secret project in the next fantasy mapping show. Yep. It's going to be showcased on that show. Yep. That will be a first sample of the new secret project that I'm working on. Greyhawk project. That is not my usual forte, really. It's kind of a little bit different.
What's up, Troy? Can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I need to log into chat.
All right, good to see you. Good. We're in the dog days of summer now, so hey, dragons. Cool, man. Good to see you. I'm relying on Mike and Anna on this one. I know my keys. I know my cities. I know my Greyhawks and Harveys and Altamiras and some other places. But beside that, thanks, Obsidian. Thank you. Those are the kind of things that get us those pre-hype trains when we get those subs up there. That's when it usually happens. You get 3 within 5 minutes of each other. Woo! Yeah, no blue box long before us, so we'll be fine. Your Castles and Crusades is working pretty well on this Kickstarter. We should be getting some stuff soon. Whoops, I pre-hit the announcement for this. So I have a big announcement, and that is... What's up, Mike? Good to see you, Mike. Yeah, no blue box on Mike beforehand. So our Sunday night gabbing is going to be one of these really cool ones. So, and I will announce it again. So we got Mike Disney coming on, and we also have Jeremy, the owner and the mind behind everything you see now. Gamescape is actually coming on the show on Sunday night for the 3D printing and terrain discussion. So it's going to be an awesome, awesome show. Cannot wait for that. Very nice of you, Troy. Thanks, man. We start cranking up here. Plus, I have an update on that mega fortress ruins, which we're going to talk about on Sunday. And of course, when Bill sent me pics on it, it's coming along. So, what's up, Longshot? Good to see you, man. It's coming along. So, really, so much great stuff coming. Oh, geez, I almost like forgot which button I was supposed to hit next. And a really cool giveaway tomorrow night on the game from Infinite Dimensions, our other 3D printed sponsor. Giving away the scriptorium and the stable set from the oh my god, I should know this. From the Abbey set. Yeah, scriptorium and so plus we'll give updates on the some other things. Look at that. Oh, Troy is in a race with Troy's in a race with Canadian. I think Canadian's sporting that Lord Page one, and you're not yet. He's working toward the next one. Oh no, I don't think he has Lord Page either. I think neither of you have Lord Page. Yeah, he got a nice jump on you. Oh, it's all good. I bet you we get a hype train like shortly. Yeah, that's insane. That's funny. That's it. A hype train before we even start. Lovely. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Phil.
Pre-hype.
Pre-hype.
Pre-hype, yeah.
Pre-hype. Hey Tom, how's your vacation going, man? Please tell me you're having fun. Where are you anyway? I guess it would be nice for me to know where you are. Tom, you're gonna miss you're missing out on Hardby tomorrow night, but that's all right. Oh, look at that. We're only 7 minutes early tonight.
7 minutes early?
Yeah, only 7. Thanks, Tom. Oh, Mystic, Connecticut. Wow, just a small road trip. All right, well, you got to see the sights because you know I was in Mystic Pizza as an extra in that movie. So there you go. Got to go to the docks. Got to go to the pizza joint. Got to go all those places. Yes, I was an extra. See? Right, Tom? Dude, it's like our paths cross all the time, it seems, there, Troy. It's funny. Oh, Tino with a raid. Awesome, dude. Oh, man, I'm trying to hit this freaking thing. Good to see you, Tino. I'm trying to get everyone check out M Boogers and give him a follow. Yeah, I'm already. Thanks, Caleb, for a resub. I know I have you on shout out.
6 months, time flies.
Isn't that time is freaking flying? That's a weirdo. Good to see you, man. Tonight. I'll let the music go since we're still 5 minutes early. governments of Greyhawk. Be very scared. Shouted it out to my my crew just in our general text chat, and Tim goes back, there are no governments in Greyhawk. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I said, maybe for you there are no governments in Greyhawk where you're playing. Thank you all for the support there. I'll be hitting up. None of this stuff is going into the ticker, so I'll be reticketing this stuff up just so it goes in and counts. So yeah, it'll be a fun discussion tonight. I don't know. It's one of these where I'm not sure where the direction's going to go, but that's cool about these discussions. Right, Mike?
Yeah,
Mike's
like talking about economy. You don't know.
Yeah, just like the economy discussion. It's like, what happened? What's going to happen there?
Yep.
It's
Hey,
Dorgan. People are still coming on.
A lot of interest. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming on. I see a lot of people in chat lurking around, which is good. I see Jason Savota lurking there. Jason, so the ever mysterious Tim tells me you are taking Gitano's place back with that character. That's awesome. That's next Saturday. No. That's Greyhawk. That's Greyhawk. Next Saturday's the first level ones. Oh, that stinks, man. Good to see everyone tonight. People are still coming on. All right, we're early enough. We can start. Boom. Good evening, everyone. I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba for another Legends and Lore here. Number 106. Where did the time go? With me, as always, is the great Anna Meyer and the you're not mysterious, but the ever-present Greyhawk, Mike Bridges. Good to see you both.
Thank you. Yeah.
Another night of discussion here in the lore of Greyhawk. Now, what's really cool about this one is we did cities last week, but this isn't really the same because this goes beyond cities. This goes to whole government, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, on a large scale. It can be a lot of other sub-governments and things we can discuss tonight. So, Mike, I know you put up a nice list for us. I saw that list that you got together. Mm-hmm. How did your research go for this discussion?
Well, that list I had sent was not the long list. I only posted that for you because there was a funny comment in there.
Yeah, that's true.
The one about republics.
Yep.
Yeah. So hold on. Let me pop this up on here on the small one here. So and it says Republic, a democracy of elected rulers or thieves.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, man. That's good.
That's out of the companion box set, by the way.
So that's out of the. All right. So the companion box set. Is that the blue one? Is that the blue box or is it the gray box?
Teal
box. Yeah. Okay. Well, very, very cool on that, man. But hey, it's true. I mean, there doesn't have oligarchy's on here, and that's a good question. What's the difference between a republic and an oligarchy? Oh, it's hard to say because I know the Free City of Greyhawk, they call it an oligarchy, right?
Yeah.
I'm catching up here.
Oligarchy. Now I get a chance to shine a little bit. That actually have studied the political science a hell of a lot, so to speak, and try to apply it to fantasy world. An oligarchy is usually it's a form of rule where you have self-appointed groups, leaders, like you have the business leaders in a fantasy world. You have like guild leaders and others who simply govern among themselves for their own profit, so to speak. It's oligarchy, and large part of the population are not in on it, so to speak. It's when you have little cliques and small groups in society that band together and say, we are going to govern this, and the rest of the country who has nothing to say. And there are a lot of parts of the world that in real world that has what you could call an oligarchy. And I think City of Greyhawk is really a good example of oligarchy. You have the guild masters of various guilds. You have the richest merchants, probably the churches, but the church leaders and others have put together and say, we are going to govern the city. And then among themselves, they select in kind of non-transparent way who's going to run the city, so to speak. That is an oligarchy. Yeah.
Right, and that's so. Are some may be elected, some not, right? Or some may
exactly.
be like
It's non-transparent. It's chosen among themselves, and only the ones inside the city council knows how the mayor is actually selected, or the head of treasury or security or watch or whatever it is. There is no kind of firm rules. It's only these groups that have decided that we are the ones. Then there's no kind of no constitution, nothing like that. It's like, and if another group becomes powerful enough, they might be selected into the oligarchy, or that might be fought hard to keep them out. And the Gord books takes up this very interesting in the conflict with the beggars, beggar thieves and the Thieves Guild. And to me, that is a political struggle on who is going to be part in the oligarchy, so to speak. The winner of that power struggle will be probably the ones taking that seat at the table, so to speak. And some of it is pure power, some of it is probably tradition. Meaning in the city of Greyhawk, that
I'm getting through it. Thanks, Jason. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm reading.
Yeah, and so oligarchy is one of these interesting forms of government that you can, as a DM, you can play with in your fantasy world. You can have different groups that make an alliance, a secret pact, and it doesn't even have to be open who is in this that could be a cabal of interests that is in secret put together and simply appoint someone, and then they sit there on top and let that person run it. And adventurers who come in there, the people that live there and stuff, for them it's a lot of hush secrecy, and if you bribe enough you might get in on it, so to speak. And some of it is pure tradition, some is pure money or military might and stuff. So
Hawk 99, and thank you. I know you're a regular Blue Box supporter. Thank you so very much for the raid in. I really appreciate it. That is awesome. And please note that there's a giveaway tonight. We're going to at least at minimum give away one of these great reprints, Greyhawk The Adventure Begins, and we'll see where we go from there. But thank you so very much, and please both give Tino and Hawk, please give them both follows if you don't mind. So I don't know why I didn't snip this, Mike and Anna. It has, this is one of my favorite of all time, the Free City Ground box set.
Exactly, there you have
it. They actually have a list of the ruling oligarchy, and
meaning they have it. There is a perfect example in the Gord. They talk about in prose about the conflict and stuff, but the box set has the power mongers in the city listed, so to speak. And we got a good question from there you go, from Matthias.
Please do, please.
Go for it. Of course, how many governments in the Flennies were direct offshoots or broke off from the Great Kingdom? That is a great question. And
do you have an answer to that?
Well, we have the two. Let's go back in history a little bit, and I wish we had even better people like David Leonard, but I'll try my best to live up to his standards here. So we have the Great Kingdom, that was the big empire, and that's a form of kind of type of, not type of government, but how powerful the government is.
You're looking for a number?
Well, we can start listing them in the order they broke off.
All right, let me do this. Let me do this. Let me go to let me do this.
Go to the So the first one to break off from the Great Kingdom of any real significance, so to speak, is Niron, the Kingdom of Niron, and they formed their own independent kingdom and their government. So they were early on, so to speak, and. Oh, sorry, hang on a second. It must be to go west. We have to go to Furundi first. Yep. Furundi, Veluna, and High Folk were the ones that broke off early, and that they used to be, and this is interesting. They used to be the kingdom of Ferond. That was that was a bit like India was to the British Empire, a kind of a part of the empire that was partially self-governing from the city of Divers. That was the kingdom of Pharaoh that swore fealty to the great kingdom. And then they simply cut off ties completely, broke up into pieces. So it became the kingdom of Furiundi, Voluna, Highfolk, and Divers. And Perilland was part of that
I didn't know
kingdom
that.
of Pharaoh back in the day too.
Really?
Yep. And Shieldlands too was part of
So I did not know that.
Pharaoh.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
So
During
do
the
those count towards the total, or are those breakoffs Furiani's fault then?
That's the interesting thing is that I think that Furiundi apparently, if I now I'm just going on what I remember.
My guess now is the number's short. It's a small number then.
Yeah,
because
so we have like 4 or 5. Yeah, then we have these kind of borderland countries that were not really countries, but they were simply protectorates, holds, and various on the fringes, like the land of Ayus, the Bandit kingdoms, and others who were partially under the sway of the Great Kingdom, but not really. And you had the Shieldlands. That is one of these border areas, so to speak, of the Great Kingdom, and that they were not formal. They didn't have a formal government, and there are many of them, even the Flannies today, so to speak. But you have those were like the first bunch, and then you had the city of Greyhawk and the city of Divers.
Right, but at first, if we go back to the beginning, you had Great Kingdom and Keelland, and that's really it, right?
Well, during those times, you had a lot of flan states. We have a whole bunch of states that exist, and before then, we had the empire of Vecna and a whole bunch of. Meaning, there's been generations of countries and governments going past in history. So it's kind of an ongoing. And when it comes to governments, first I want to say something that I think is kind of interesting from an adventuring perspective too, and that is that governments not only come in different flavors, meaning you have more or less dictatorial, you have who's ruling, and some of them rule by law and decree, some of them by pure power and magic ability or at sword point or whatever it is. But you also have the governments themselves are recognized in different flavors, just like the real world. Some countries are more recognized than others. And I think that in the recent, Jay, that you mentioned, Keelland and the Great Kingdom, was probably because they were in the league of their own. They were superpowers back in the day of the Flannies, meaning they were recognized and acknowledged by everybody else. And then you have, and even in the Flannies of 576 or 598, you have big, powerful countries that are recognized by a bunch of others. And if you're nobility of these countries, then you're really powerful. And then you have kind of countries that are less recognized and a little bit on the fringes. Bandit kingdoms is a perfect country that was not even recognized as a formal country in many ways. And you have things like Blackmore, you have these little freeholds somewhere that powerful nobility in Furiundi or Nyrond or something, they will not even consider them the bestmo of kind of up in some little upstart from a barbarian tribe up there somewhere as an equal. But then you have the ones that are in between, like the Viscount of Verbobong, for instance. He will be considered, he is his own little sovereign. He's in the minor league, but he's there, so to speak, so he can be invited to diplomatic dinners and addressed and all that. But if the tribal leader from Wolf Nomad will show up, they will probably not even recognize this as nobility.
Anna, you didn't answer the question, though.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I know that. Yeah.
How?
Yeah. So that means that. But when it comes to, that was actually
it's
tied
not
into
answerable.
Well,
you have
Pharaoh is one. Let's do big ones.
Let's see. We have four in here. We have the Furiundi, Voluna, Highfolk, Divers are 4 obvious ones from there, and then we go east and we have Shieldlands, we have Nyrond, and we have the Ernst, 2 of them, Greyhawk, and then we have Sundi, and so we can probably come up to like 20 or so if we count.
How about Theocracy in the Pale? Was that ever part of?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
10 wasn't.
Yeah. Bone March was.
Bone March was Ratik.
Yeah. It was Sundi was.
Ratik was too. Or no?
To some degree, I think it was one of the Ratik is one of these kind of example of one of these
Bone
borderland that was back during the Grey Kingdom days, was probably just a border marsh or something, not a
Okay.
proper country.
North
And
Province.
yeah. And then you have new areas. Take the leftover from Almor. If you go to the 598 map, then Almor is divided up into little territories that are marshlands. They become like holds and various things. And these titles indicate the status. A marshland is not a self-governing. It's governed from somewhere else under military rule, so to speak. That's a marshland. But some of them retain the name even if they are not. Bissell is a marshland, and because it still has, and if I read the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, which is wonderful from figure out who governs who, and you can make political kind of campaigns, and you can kind of do all sorts of subterfuge and spy things and whatnot.
You got your 80, you got your 1980 glossography, right? You got your 1980. All right. Thanks, Obsidian. And then you got your 1983
box set. Yep.
Which is this with two folded books in it.
Yeah. And then we have From the Ashes.
Right.
That is very much a repeat of the 83 box set, with a campaign book that details the Wild Coast and the Greyhawk area.
Right, and mine are falling apart there, and then you also got so many.
And then you have the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer.
Well, you missed the one we're giving away tonight too, because this has the Adventure Begins is 2.5, and then you have your Living Greyhawk. So you have a lot of. I mean, you have so many different reference points.
Yeah, but from an adventuring perspective, I think it's interesting to see that governments can have many different roles. They can be if you don't like the government can be a perfect villain. Various government representatives are hunting you down for taxes and violations of all sorts of stupid rules and stuff like that. The government can simply be an obstacle to overcome. Bureaucrats that are nosy and want to stop you and search you and do all sorts of crap just to hinder you and pester you and test the resolve of the adventures. Or the government can even be the patron of the adventure party. They are the ones sending out the adventurers to do its bidding, find something, kill someone, guide someone to safety, whatever it is. Meaning a lot of these kind of things, or it can also be the one saving the party. If the party gets in trouble for some reason, some government might want to save them. So yeah.
So Dragons Never Forget, thank you for putting up a great. But how about Verbalbank? Was that part of the Great Kingdom?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was. It was part of Veluna, and part of Ferrond. Before Ferrond fell apart.
So
yeah, and they wanted to go their own way. So the Viscount he made his own. He took that little province and kind of separated from the other ones. So yeah.
So we had another question, which is very general and very. How many kings are there currently in Greyhawk? Like kings.
That depends on who you talk to, who you ask. Meaning, if you ask the Empire of Elissa or the King of Furiundi or stuff like that, maybe half a dozen or so. The other ones, but if you ask a bandit lord in the bandit kingdoms, he's a king. He's the king of his castle.
Time lord. That's a timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be, so let's just say 576.
Yeah, it depends on who you recognize. Formally recognized by a large majority of other countries.
Right.
Maybe...
Let's just assume. All right, I got a better idea. We're going to go to Pact of Greyhawk. All these stupid ambassadors are in Greyhawk City, right?
Yeah.
From the Ashes
there you have a good
set.
example. Yeah.
We'll
Everyone who's from a kingdom.
Point.
Yeah.
Who is a king? So Keeland?
Keeland is a kingdom.
Technically, Ivid is still a king because he's got an ambassador there. He has an ambassador there.
He's an emperor, so he's even above kings, so to speak. He's a king or above, so to speak.
That's two.
Yeah. Furiundi, that's three.
That's three.
Nyron, that's four.
There's a king of Nyron, really?
They're a kingdom. They're a full-blown kingdom with
Okay, four.
Yeah, and that is probably about it. Yep.
Four. Okay.
Yep.
Unless we missed someone that you all know out there.
No, but I think
is not a king.
Yeah, I think that's about it when it comes to
four.
To that. Okay. Yeah. When it comes to
from that Pact of Greyhawk, recognizing.
Yeah, but then you have a couple of equal ones that are
Sure.
Yeah, and then you have the Sultan of Sif, for instance, or Saif. He's probably on the same, he's definitely on the par with kings. So he doesn't have the title king, but he has the status of a king. He's the Sultan of Sif, or that
Sure.
is as
See-
powerful as any of the kingdoms. Yeah.
Yeah, and Patrick brings up a point. Yolande, Lady Ralt is a queen of Celine.
Exactly. I was going to say, there you have it in the other one. So
Yeah,
Celine,
so,
yep,
yeah,
definitely.
there's-
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And
Just
then
by
we
title.
have the ones that we don't want to say, but should be mentioned in the same equality. Ayus.
Nah, he's a dictator. It's,
Oh yeah,
no,
but
it would be like
but he is-
Napoleon. Napoleon declared himself an emperor, right?
yeah, but that you have that in power, he's definitely on par with any of the kings.
Yeah,
But he's not formally recognized as one. But
No.
but he is.
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Bandit
yeah.
kingdoms.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about fantasy worlds. There should be a lot of ambiguities
There is.
and kind of stuff for good adventuring. You need things that are on the fringes and not recognized by everybody, etc., etc. It should be difficult and convoluted at times. Not everywhere, but some places should be.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, and then you have the other ones. You have the Kingdom of Rushdie, Frost Barbarians.
Yeah,
And the Schnai and the Kruski, meaning those are three kingdoms in a way. They are probably not as recognized by the other ones, but they are definitely kings in their own domains and recognized by each other. So yeah. So there's one, and then
there's all three.
Yeah, the hold of or the Stone Fist. That's another one that is on par with the Frusti and the Kruski and stuff. He doesn't use the title king, but the Lord of Lekstad is on par. He's not on par with Nairon of Forundi, but he's on par with the Frusti and the Kruskis. So it's like a second level of kingdoms in a way.
Chieftains is where I go. Yeah, with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
So, how do you want to go to region by region, break down some of which ones you want to talk about? How
We can. Yeah. We have one we should kind of. I think one is interesting. Meaning, how many democracies are there in the Flanders?
I only know of one. And
Before we
there's
jump
two.
into that,
Yeah, go for it.
I gotta quickly throw out my disclaimer here.
Yeah.
Everything I know about governments in D&D, I learned from the DM's Guide,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
page 89.
Mm-hmm. The original
There's a
Dungeon Master's Guide.
Great list of governments.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Everything I've learned since then, I learned on Wikipedia yesterday.
And you have this
And
to your list.
what I've learned is there's more than one term for some kind of governments, and some governments types have sub-government types. So like when you say oligarchy, you can actually break that down even further.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. And so when we start talking about Greyhawk or whatever region, I think sometimes a lot of them are monarchies, which is easy. Some of these governments, these countries could probably be put under more than one column.
What page in the Dungeon Master's Guide, Mike? Once again, 89. You said
89.
Yeah, I mean, you can have kingdoms can be constitutional, feudal, autocratic, martial.
Well, and also, not on this list is what Hardby is in most cases is a gynarchy.
That's on the DM's Guide list.
Yeah, it's on the DM's Guide list. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks,
and another wonderful product when it comes to this is this one. It's a rare one.
That's
Campaign Sourcebook and Catacomb Guide, which it's to me it's so weird that it has the Catacomb Guide because it's not that much about catacombs.
It's
this one has an excellent. If you want to set up your campaign world and stuff, you can. This one is
never seen that book before. Never heard of that book.
It's a two-way blue book. I should run downstairs and get
all these blue books are fantastic. I think it's available as PDF from our Drive-Through RPG. Get it? It's great.
The problem with those this is why no one knows about the blue books. Everyone knows that there's the brown, dark
Yeah,
brown books,
players.
the
Yeah.
green books, which have different settings, and then there's all these blue books like the
Yep.
Necromancer's Guide and
Yep.
of ships in the sea, which I said 100 times.
Monster mythology.
Yeah, Monster
Yep.
Mythology. Ships in the Sea is Ghost of Saltmarsh's appendix. They ripped right off verbatim and put in on the
Yep.
ship combat. It's right from that second. They diluted themselves so much in second edition with all the settings, all these books that people just couldn't buy them all, and that was the problem back then.
Yep.
But there's such great content in them. Divers is technically a
That
democracy.
exactly. That's the one I
Wow.
found yesterday when I did my research, some of the research for this. I found
classified
out that
slavers of
Divers is
meritocracy. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so Divers is kind of a mixture of democracy and oligarchy, meaning not everybody has the right to vote, but some do. Meaning if you're a merchant or wealthy enough or something, then you're part. So it's like
something of merit.
Exactly. So it's like Divers is described in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer as it's described as a meritocratic democracy, and from the description of it, I would say it's a mix between democracy and an oligarchy. Not everybody is allowed into the democracy.
So wait. So it's a democracy on the realms of Starship Troopers, like. You need to become a citizen. Right?
Well, not only a citizen, you need to. If you open a shop and you're wealthy enough and you become part, but it's democracy. The difference between an oligarchy and a democracy needs some sort of transparency. The ruled need to get informed on how they're ruled and why and how and by who, so to speak. An oligarchy doesn't need to have any transparency whatsoever. So that's the thing.
You get to vote for your merchant and trader union representative.
Yeah,
but
and
once
if you
he's
remember,
on that directing oligarchy, he's his own man.
Yeah, but it's
35.
Yeah, but it seems like from the description in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer that Divers has more of that transparency, so to speak. They have a council and meetings and stuff that are open. So it seems like it's more of a genuine democracy than other places. So it's one of these that and to me that was a big surprise. Yeah.
So note this: I'm going to since I have this reprint, thanks to Patrick Canadian Ancient Gamer, I'll throw this into. We'll have two of them. I mean, this is the original 1980 folio. This will give you a lot of this government information, which is right in here on all the different locations. So there's a phone number who's an oligarchy. I'm going to look that up in this book right now as we speak on Divers, and I'll see what it says in here. Let's see. Because of the alliance of the coast of Luna, King Throm allowing the Free City boasts a marine for. It doesn't really say in the original 1980.
That's all slavers /LGG development.
Yeah, LGG describes it in detail, so in way more detail. And to be honest, the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, those descriptions of the governments in that one are fantastic. I think they are wonderful inspiration for nerds like me who like to nerd out about stuff like this. So yeah,
it's definitely more than just saying kingdom. No, it's very detailed.
Yeah,
so it's a meritocracy. Okay.
Meaning you have to be accomplished in some way, scholarly or magically or money wise or something. So yeah.
And I always think of Divers, and we joke about this in our game as the I'm sorry for using the term, but the shithole compared to Greyhawk.
That's what surprises me, because everything I read about that city, it's the opposite. It's an old scholarly place that used to be the second most distinguished city in the Flannies. It was the second biggest city in the Great Kingdom, and it ruled the western half of the empire. And they
have a bad PR.
Yes, exactly. They need to hire a PR department. Yep, that they bad PR. And the interesting thing, if you read the Gord books, they get more bad PR because it's a Nerul temple in Divers in the Gord books. So there's more bad PR. So the rulers of Divers, they need to step up their PR game a bit, because they get a lot of bad rep in various kind of other places. But in the formal texts and source books, they seem to do just fine. Yeah.
So it's something there, Elhawk, definitely. It also So the Slaver's book is pre-Living Greyhawk. Living Greyhawk molds a lot of things in the direction that the players wanted it to go. But
Yeah.
in the Slavers, I give it credence because this is pre those eras.
Yeah.
So, and if it states in that it is a meritocracy, then great. I mean, I did not know
Yeah.
that. So.
And campaigns need villains, and government organizations can be full of greedy, bureaucratic, whatever hole you want to call them, so to speak. And so they make for perfect. And so campaigns need villains. And the Living Greyhawk was a big campaign with lots of players, so they needed lots of villains. So and areas that are not really obviously a home of villains need more villains. So I can understand why they want to make things worse than they appeared before. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So Tino, so Tino asked a question. Yes, Gloretti Bacani, the tax collector, is a dwarf, lawful evil, and all his tax collectors are dwarves, and they get their money. So yes, there is a sheriff of Nottingham in Greyhawk City.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you don't mess with them. That if the people's constables are an annoyance, they go around and finding everyone. They're different. You do not mess with the tax collecting agency if you know what's good for you. Yes, it's a good question. Absolutely, that I do know. So yeah, there's some. You educated me both, everyone, on divers. That was something I did not know. I just did not know that. That's interesting. What about so? I want to go back to Greyhawk real quick and get that Greyhawk out of the way. So it's an oligarchy with 16 elected, and it says amongst them they elect the mayor. So
16 votes.
Right, but are they elected by their guild members mostly, or are they elected by their members of their individual organizational guilds? I think that's what happens here. Is that what happens? Because
you can. The way I've thought about it is that each of these organizations have fought hard over time, so to speak, to get their limelight. So to sit at the table in order, and there are different ways you get in on the table. The easiest way is to bribe your way in, like the Merchant Guild. If you're powerful enough, you simply tell the council that we are going to hand over 1 million gold a year, and that means that no questions asked. You will get a seat at the table, period. Others are more subtle, like the Thieves Guild and others. And the Thieves Guild and others, some might simply say, well, we can turn the city upside down and cause so much mayhem, so you need to have us at the table. And like the Watchmen, for instance, and the Night's Watch and the City Watch, they are the ones controlling the citizens at sword point, so they have a big power. And the Society of Magi, they are needed for the defense of the city, and they also powerful enough to burn down half buildings and God knows what. So they get a seat at the table for that.
The member of this oligarchy is been changed. It's got to be Karen Jalushin now, because Alaluk is destroyed.
Yeah,
so he was in this one. Oh, Karen's already on there. Guildmaster of Wizards and the President's Society of Magic. So they had to replace him. But there's Patriarchs of Baka Brow, the Guildmaster, 4 Merchant and Traders Union members.
It's not balanced.
No, it's not.
There's factions.
Exactly, there's factions.
Guildmaster of Jewelers and Gem Cutters is on here. Lawyers and Scribes. Turin Deathstalker at one point was on here. The Guildmaster of Assassins is on the oligarchy, along with the Guildmaster of Thieves. The Constable, and then Nerith Gazgal, who's not the head of the Thieves Guild. He's not. The mayor is not the head of the Thieves Guild.
I think it was the former. Wasn't he the former head of the
Thieves Guild? Former, or he's the assistant.
He's assistant. Organization's the head of the Thieves Guild.
Yeah.
Before that was Arental.
Okay. Yeah. That organization. Yeah.
So okay. I guess they are not elected in a general election. They're elected amongst their own organizations.
Exactly. They're just and it's like you elect the Pope. No one knows.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
there could be
it's
fewer, more. It just depends on who gets big enough to get that seat at the table. We're talking about if the Temple of, because I don't think Zilchus is on there, are they?
No,
maybe no, I don't think so. Yeah, but maybe they will be a perfect example of
more temples could horn in on that. Let's say and then you start to get you teeter towards theocracy, and then. But the merchants seem to be gobbling up a lot of spots, and it just goes back and forth.
Yeah. So you have to
Awesome.
fight for a seat at the table, and their discussions and how they make their decisions is probably only the ones in the room that needs to know that, so to speak. No one else knows who is. Like when they elect the Pope, we just get to know afterwards who became the Pope. We have no idea of who voted for who, for what reason. It's just that the cardinals just elect someone. Yeah.
So in Greyhawk, you are not rising unless you're not rising to a level of an oligarch as a PC unless something extraordinary happens.
Yeah, you need a group of an interest behind you, so to speak, someone to sponsor you. If you're just one individual, maybe you're an archmage or something.
I used to play with this all the time.
Yeah.
In my 2E campaign, I actually had a player rise all the way to mayor. And the politics of it was insane.
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's awesome.
They did it by boosting the mercenary guild. They got in.
Oh, they added the mercenary guild.
Through adventuring, through Castle Greyhawk, through all that money, they boosted the mercenary guild to the point where then, as Guildmaster got in there, and then it all became factions and politicking to become the next Lord Mayor when Nerif stepped down.
So, Tino, I'm going to answer this question. It's way too far-fetched, but the Circle of Eight has died in its entirety in Vecna Lives, in the Falcon series, completely obliterated. Tensor and Alaluk have been killed in Rary the Traitor permanently, but then Tensor comes back in Return of the Eight. And if you run this, thank you, Cannibal. If you run this, you can put a cigar with a propeller right through the middle of the city Greyhawk and destroy it. There you go. So that answers that question.
Spoiler, the module, the first building that smashes through, if it makes it to the city, is Gludreddy's house.
Yeah, as a joke, the ironies of that. So yes, so there you go. So there are ways of destroying a lot of the power structure in Greyhawk.
Yeah, and how much you want the players to and characters to be involved in this is something that you as a DM and the group have to decide how political you want to be when your game, so to speak.
I used to run Greyhawk because I can't remember if the Beggars Guild were in there, but you had Org, you had Nerif, you had Turin. I used to play Greyhawk very thief-centric.
I love
they have most of the control.
Yeah.
And that would be then a subheading of kleptocracy.
Yep.
Well, running quarters almost. So, Mike, I did the same thing, and this book tells about the foreign and the foreign and the river quarter heads are planning to overthrow Thomas Rotek. They're planning to overthrow Orgnension. We ran that entire scenario when this first came out, late 90s, early 2000s, with the Grey Company. And I know now that John's Blue Box group is in the Greyhawk, and we're gonna Bill, if you're still on, I volunteered you. As you see, he's not on now. I don't see him. His character Galeen is like a head of one of the sub leaders of the Thieves Guild as a crossover character. So the thief operations and the role play and the interaction of the Thieves Guild is an awesome way to do political intrigue in Greyhawk. Yeah,
and you can see one of the obvious ways that the Thieves Guild is the power player in the city like Greyhawk is that they are de facto the tax collectors. So the Thieves Guild steal from people who don't pay to the guild, meaning to the city coffers. And because the guild is the tax collectors. So the guild can operate and steal from everybody who doesn't pay to the coffers of the city and the Thieves Guild. And the Thieves Guild kind of split that money. And then the city gives the Thief Guild the license to steal and so on from the ones who don't carry that little symbol that they already have prepaid, so to speak. So it's the Thieves Guild practically de facto serves as the tax collectors of the city.
Well, I don't know about that.
That's what they in effect does. It's that then you might have a parallel official tax collecting agency, but a Thieves Guild that is kind of licensed by the city, meaning their guild master is on the city city guild, that's a perfect way of running the tax collection.
They know who they can and can't steal from.
Exactly. Yeah, because
no, we're
they
not
have
talking about
already
the BK
prepaid.
tonight, Casey, because we don't like the BK. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did I miss you guys talking about the BK? No.
No.
And if you are bored, listen. And if you are bored and want to talk to governments of the BK and know about them, then hop your ass on here.
Yeah,
Okay?
and also we can say that the BK is probably one of the least governed parts of the Flennies.
Yeah, but
There's
if you know
not
a
much
little
to
bit
talk
about
about.
it,
does
I'm
have a
fine with you
category.
hopping on, man.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. but
Casey will be on next week too.
Okay.
So for the next week's Legends and Lore, we're going to do meta orgs from have some living Greyhawk guests on. I know Jonathan Dawes is coming on. So all right, enough of Greyhawk. I just was curious as to because I don't delve into organizations that far into governments, because I'll give you an example. My Altamira, we know
how is Altamira governed?
There you go. So, the head of remember, I have the guild of the Bounty Hunters Guild is in Altamira.
Yeah.
And oh, look at this! It took him 10 seconds.
Yeah. Is it Knights of Ule?
No.
Are they running this? No, they're
well,
not.
in the background they are. So Charisse is she is the grandmother of Bounty Hunters, right? She's the guild master, and there you go. And 15th level bounty hunter, which is the equivalent of the assassin, in my world, and she's the mayor. But I never delved into the council at all. I haven't, because once again, I want to have a map before I do all that.
Yeah, you run the city without a council.
I would probably say there's a directing oligarchy as well for control purposes.
Yeah.
Because once again, I don't sound snobbish, but do certain people need to vote in Altamira and Greyhawk? I don't know.
Greyhawk, they don't vote. I don't think so.
Greyhawk,
I think only the oligarchs within the city council can vote for who they want to appoint to different things, but they might not vote in an equal fashion. They might have some other system. I don't know. Yeah,
it's something once again that I'll go on when I have a real map at one point. So
okay,
there we go.
Yep.
So in fairness, there are over a dozen territories in the Dragon 50 something. The name had. Yeah, well, so this is Casey's realm of expertise. So what's up, dude? How you been, man?
Hey, how is everyone?
Speaking of that, Casey, what do you have going on Saturday, July 10th in the morning?
BK Tourney 1.
Oh.
Vengeance in the Bandit Kingdom, broadcast live with an all-star cast, produced by Jay. It'll be retired after this, and then I'll start working on BK Tourney 2 for virtual Greyhawk Con in October.
Yes.
Virtual Greyhawk Con 2.
Yes, absolutely. What? Yeah. So who's playing in it, Casey?
Oh, God, now you're putting me on the spot. Yeah. So we got Kayla and Blue Box John and Josh.
Pop.
And Jose.
Jose Ortiz, yeah.
And oh my God, who is my fifth person? Oh my God. See, you put me on the spot. I wasn't prepared for the question.
That's okay. July 3rd's on too.
That is a good guess.
Patrick, yep. July 3rd's on too. Here you go. The Underdog, Session 1, Desperate Land. Yes.
Oh, Anna.
Yep.
Anna's playing.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Just staring her right in the face.
No, it's no problem. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was still selected or not, but
of course you are.
Awesome. Yep.
So Mike got to play this event.
He was on the winning team last
no spoilers.
Greyhawk Con. Yep. Mike was on the winning team last Greyhawk Con. So it'll be a good thing to show everyone what happened during the tournament and get them excited for the next tournament coming up. And DM signups start next weekend, July 1st.
Insane.
I know. Registration and DM signups start next on July 1st. It'll open up. I already put my 4 events in. You'll see them in already. They're in there. But there's only events in because it's not open yet. But I wanted to get mine in right away. I've only. Saturn. Oh my God, we're not going there. I know you're joking with me with the Menzo Barons comment because I'm just not. If Ed Greenwood was on the show, it's one thing, but I'm not going there tonight. So kill everyone in that house, or you get wiped out yourself. All right, so Altamira, I've never really developed it beyond the mayor. I should, but once again, it's not part of our role RP. It's really
Well,
not.
you don't need it until you want it to be part of the plot in the campaign. Before then,
Exactly.
you don't need it.
Exactly.
And I think that should be the role of the government. You don't need to have it detailed unless
Yep.
you want it to play a part in the plot of a
Yep.
campaign. That's when you need it.
Yep.
And you might never pop up. And for some DMs, it might be every other campaign. And in mine, is probably every campaign. So yeah, in some ways or shape or form.
Yes,
So-
mayor implies there's some sort of elections.
Well,
Yeah.
she's been mayor since its founding. So
Oh, see, there you go. So they might not have.
she's
yeah,
like
she-
Samwise
Mhm.
you know, of Hobbiton
Yeah.
or whatever. He
Yeah.
was mayor how many 9 times because he was so popular. She's very popular.
So they might not have a system for electing a new one. They're happy with her. So yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I want to go to a couple of the city states before we hit the Bandit Kingdoms, and that is what's Verbalbank's? Does anyone know Verbalbank's government?
It's
Uh,
feudal,
a
hereditary, something. Hang on a
monarchy.
second here. I
it's,
didn't get this far. Yeah, we have the Viscount.
Yeah.
So I think he is hereditary. Hang on a second. I'm getting there.
Once again, though, so we're going to get the Bandit Kingdom spin on rulership, living Greyhawk style era, not
I
pre.
think it's just it's just a feudal monarchy. It has
Viscounty
some
and town of.
fealty to
yeah.
Ferrandi stuff.
Yeah, he's a
Valuna.
feudal lord. So he's like a king, but not of a kingdom. He's like a feudal lord.
He's a
I guess it's
viscount.
hereditary. So yeah, a viscount. So yeah. So it's probably his family, and it's going.
So it's autonomous until something comes up, like the
Yeah.
And
Temple
then
Bell
it
Navy.
pays homage to what? Ferrandi? Then ask Ferrandi for help in case? Is that the?
I
is that-
think so. Yeah,
Valuna,
they're a
isn't it?
semi-independent
All right.
realm. Yeah, so they owe their this independence to Valuna. So to
Okay,
speak. They've been
that is
granted
a
it.
good point. That's a good point because let me go back here. Altamira is in the county of Ulick, but it's a free city. So
Yeah.
so they pay a nominal tax to the county of Ulick, and if the county of it calls for assistance, yes. So note that
So they are a
similar.
semi-independent city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But they
Jason
can still
says
have the
Valuna.
title of free city. Yeah.
All right, so everyone says Valuna, which I'm surprised.
Okay, then
for-
it's
for-
Valuna.
okay.
Okay, yeah, Archclare's yeah, Valuna. Yep. mhm,
Okay.
Yep. I
Oh,
think it was.
Valuna does attach here. Okay, I see.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
Even though
And
so
I
does-
think it was part of.
Interesting.
It's from the split up of Ferrand. I think
Okay.
that came with the. Yeah, they probably had to
Big-time
promise Valuna something in
Thank
order
you,
to
Patrick,
get
for the
their
gift sub
their
there, Nicholas.
independence, so to speak.
Cool.
And there's a lot of states that has that kind of semi-independence. Bissell is one of them that is mentioned in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer to have it. But let's go to Bandit Kingdom.
Let's go to Bandit Kingdoms while Casey's here. So,
Oh,
Patrick, you're kidding me, right, man? He just said, "Do you have a map of your city, Altamira done?" I've been trying for 3 freaking years, man. I'm working on it. Now I have. I'm going to have Anna and Alyssa double team it because they were talking
Yes.
about double teaming
Yeah.
some other projects. So
Mhm.
we're getting there. Little steps
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah. So Casey, now we want the full report on the government structure of Bandit Kingdoms.
Oh my
how much time do you have? Actually, it can be really short and swift. He or she who can hold on to power remains in power in the band.
See, there you go.
You
So
just
it is-
got to raise a small
Yep.
army,
Yeah,
and you got to feed that army,
that's very.
and you got to pay that army.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
like a.
then you got to go raid your neighbors and
Yeah.
conquer fertile lands so that you can have some farmers.
Yeah,
It sounds like
it's
it sounds like feudal or Middle Ages. Exactly.
well, it's a martial meritocracy, meaning the one who fights the best wins and holds power.
Very frequently, although sometimes it would be a wizard, like
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the Plars of Rookroos
Yeah.
was a wizard before
Yeah.
the Greyhawk Wars, and then he fled, and now he's up in the Blackmoor area.
Yeah.
It's actually in canon
hmm
that the
But
Plar
do
of
they have
Rookroos
like
fled there.
a widespread election, or are they hereditary, or do they just murder each other to get new leaders, or how does that work? The power structure.
It does seem to be a lot of murder
okay.
at the top.
Yeah.
A lot of lieutenants murdering their bosses.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So
And a lot of
leaders.
this, I
oh,
think
sorry.
we get the first details in Dragon 56. I think it was someone in the chat mentioned Dragon 50 something. I think it's 56 and 63 that detail.
Yeah.
For instance, we know Zeech, right? He's a prince down in Red Hand, so that's
Yeah.
a hereditary title. But there
Yeah.
was no backstory developed, so I made him a Shieldlander who went rogue.
Yeah.
Like,
for
Oh,
his
you did
backstory.
that?
Yeah, that was me. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was
But could he have
if
been a
Bezos did the
prince?
same thing.
Yeah. Could he have had the prince title from back in Great
Oh,
Kingdom days? Could
So
he, or just called himself prince? Meaning, are there actual nobility from the days of the Great Kingdom ruling at least parts of it, so to speak?
So I think my theory was that Red Hand was a county or viscounty of the Shieldlands,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Yeah.
his parents were either viscounts or counts, and that when he declared himself independent of the Shieldlands, he gave himself a promotion.
Ah,
and
yeah. So
called
he
it the
just leveled up
Principality of
himself.
Red
Yeah.
Hand.
Mhm. Okay.
But he
Gotcha.
didn't have enough power to call himself,
Yeah.
a king or anything.
Mhm.
I think the
Yeah, he
good
didn't
clue
want to
there
piss off the neighbors too much, just a little bit.
is it's on the lake.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the other bandit kingdoms are further inland into the
Yeah,
wilderness.
it's the only bandit kingdom
That's
that
actually
touches the
a,
near diff.
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of contiguous with all the lands around the near div are monarchies, right? Or former.
What about divers?
Well, that's why I said former.
Well, Divers was just the as part of Ferron, of the kingdom of Ferron.
Yeah.
So it was
Then it
the
becomes free.
capital,
Yeah, that's later.
province of
Right.
that.
So here's my
like
question:
Greyhound.
how many bandit lords are there at any given time?
Dozen?
What's the average?
8, about 9 to 14.
9 to 14.
I
Okay, that
think.
was close.
It depends on
Yeah.
what time frame you're set in and
Right.
what you do
Well, a lot of
during the
that is
Greyhawk
an issue
Wars
with
and what
this.
you do after the Greyhawk Wars.
Right.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
we could the Men of the Rift. Are they really an organized government entity?
Yeah.
Because they fled Riftcrag before Kranzer of Ayuz got there.
My quick general description of the bandit kingdoms would be a confederation of dictatorships.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
a good one. And that if they have to band together for some purpose, they will. It's kind of like the Scottish clans and the almost.
That's probably a really good way of looking at it without the hereditary.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more danger probably to the leaders. And it is called a combination of free lords.
Yeah.
Combination.
And
I love
they're
that
such
name.
a loose that they are basically fighting each other
Combination of free
until someone
lords,
else
that's
shows
funny.
up from the outside. That's when
Like
they
the Horn
yeah.
Society comes along and says Warfields and Wormhall, and I think Abara.
Yeah, here they are.
And there's one more. The 4 of them had to go fight for the Horn Society, or the Horn Society devils were just going to eat all their women and children. Kind of thing was going on. And
Are there
Abora,
any? Oh, sorry.
Crystal is Crystal in Tabletop Scenarios. Crystal is one of my big bads in my homebrew
I
campaign.
don't recognize that
Nope.
name.
Oh, okay.
But an interesting note about Anna's map there, Abara
Oh, that's okay.
says, I think that's the word core, K-O-R under it. Is that,
Yeah.
that's in canon. They had named the leader of Abara like Relt Or, and then in a different canon source, they named the region core and called him like Abara or something.
Yeah.
So the leader's
That's
name,
why I had to put that in parentheses
Right.
because it was kind of it was ambiguous sources. One of many
Right.
ambiguous
I
sources.
know. Is that
when it
your
comes to-
heraldry or is that someone else's?
It's someone else's that came from, I cleaned it up, so to speak, and
Yeah.
it's from the Living Greyhawk days.
Okay.
right?
and
But scroll
I kind
down
of-
that hawk.
Yeah.
Right there, that's mine that I gave to Anna for the
Yep.
Warfields.
Oh,
because
really?
The leader
Yep.
of the Warfields is Guardian General Hawk.
Mhm.
Oh,
He's-
nice.
He,
There you go, El Hawk. Look at
he's
that.
mentioned in canon, right, as the leader,
got-
and I forget
got a
if
shield.
he's mentioned in canon as dying at the Steelbone Meadows massacre. But in Living Greyhawk, he gets resurrected, and he
That's
starts
very
leading
cool.
the fight against Ayuz. So I created that, in Paint, Microsoft Paint or whatever, and sent it to Anna.
Hey man, you
Yep.
know, you do it however you do it back in the day.
It's so cool.
you
Yeah.
know.
Thank you.
The red
Yep.
hand. Go look at the red hand shield because that's the one I'm actually proud of. It should be on our
It's
map.
not on the
Fi-
because it's
Yeah, this is
it's because
576.
it's exactly in the 598 map. So
There's no red hand yet. Well,
red
exactly
hand here.
red-handed.
well,
no,
there
it's
goes
not.
that.
Wah,
excitement.
wah,
Yep.
wah.
And then
Yep.
some of the others are obviously from the
You need the
canon sources,
598
like that
map.
Rehu map or that Rehu shield is from the world of Greyhawk folio, if I remember
Right.
Yep.
correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome.
But, yeah, so you've got a whole bunch of different people. Now, the Rehu are on the Artonsame River. You know, they're going to be dealing with the county of Ernst or
Yeah.
raiding into it quite a bit. But they all fled during the Greyhawk Wars, and they become either men of the Rift or they go into the Felry Forest.
Yep.
Ally with the elves and even the orcs eventually.
That becomes part of Red Hand, right? Rehu?
No, not really.
Oh,
It becomes
no.
a barren land
Oh,
after the Ayuza's forces kind of go through there, and they take over a couple small towns named Saresh and
Balmond.
Balmond, I think
Yep.
it is.
Mhm. Yep.
And there
Balmond
is some
a-
great comedy buried in I Use the Evil when they talk about the conquering of the Bandit Kingdoms. There's like passages where Kranzer gets sick of Ayusian clerics. In a quote, like fit of humor, he leaves 3 clerics behind in a city and doesn't tell any of them who's in charge. That's an actual canon quote from
well,
like
that's
I
fun.
Use the
That's chaotic governing. Yep.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're all chaotic evil, neutral evil, right? Or
Mhm.
Let them be
chaotic
cake.
neutral.
Yeah, let them
Yep.
figure it out themselves. That's
Yep.
that's
Mhm.
fun.
Right, because Kranzer's a wizard. He doesn't like the Ayusian clerics because they're all, I almost swore, they're all friggin' insane.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
major nerd stuff, Drake. You're nerdvana tonight. So if we go next door,
Too many
this is
paladins.
Militocracy. Militocracy for Shield Antenna.
Militocracy. Yeah.
Well, it depends. It's described as a feudal kind of organization of feudal lords, so to speak, that have gathered together. That was the after. At first, it was a province. First, it was, I guess, ungoverned during the Flandes, and kind of no one really knows. And then the Great Kingdom came in, and it became part of the kingdom of Ferrond, and it was a province there, and ruled.
Well, that's why
From-
they didn't
from
ask for
Edmund
Furiandi's assistance during.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then when Ferrond broke off from the Great Kingdom, the lords of Shieldlands didn't know if they wanted to break off from the Great Kingdom or not. So they were hanging in limbo for some years, and that's why the Shieldland became a separate entity and not part of the kingdom of Furiundi or that part. So it kind of broke off because the lords of Shieldland didn't know. They still felt they had some loyalty to Rossi's, but not enough. And Rossi's kind of forgot about they became the border state, so to speak. So they were hanging in limbo for a while, and then they formed the Shieldland Treaty among themselves, if I remember the history correctly. And they were a feudal congregation of lords that elected a leader and went on. And then they formed the Order of the Shield that became more military and religious and stuff over time, so
Now,
to speak.
here
So
in
it's
my
ran by
campaign,
Mike.
what's that, Mike?
Mhm.
So presently, it's ran by the military, the knights, and such.
Well,
Yeah, it's a martial theocracy, so to speak. It's like a mixture
Not my
of martial and theocratic rules. It's
Hmm.
ruled by paladins, basically.
I have
and
a
clear
They're surviving paladin.
I have a 3-person oligarchy here, elected.
Hmm.
Right, elected amongst not amongst the entire occupants, but amongst the certain voting members, which is almost like an oligarchy of assigned. There's like so many. There's like 50 of them, and they have 5-year terms. And right now there's Katerina Walworth's one, Marco's character David Gradivus II, and then Valderessa Sharn, who they killed off from the ashes that I kept alive. They're the 3 that I have, and they're on their 3rd and final 5-year term, and then they're going to have to abdicate after that. It was 2 5-year
Yeah.
terms, and our timeline got pushed up. Like, oops, we better extend it one more because I'm not ready. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I have. And then,
Yeah.
yep.
In my campaign, I pushed
Yep.
it really hard. I wanted to think about what would a good cult look like. So I simply said that, okay, let's make
Tim.
the Order of the Shield. They are now running the Shield lands through and through, so to speak, and they are a martial theocratic order, so to speak. They are run by paladins, clerics, and fighters. So in order
Usually
to
of
be part,
Hieronius.
exactly, yeah. So and Hieronius is in my campaign an aspect of Bahamut. So they are. He's the arch paladin, so to speak. So it's now actually a dragon run realm. The people don't know that yet. so to speak. But it's good dragons, so they are fair and just, and you have certain rights and a lot of benefits from being there, so to speak. But you have to help out, so to speak. So everyone who is capable have to bear arms and weapons and stuff like that. They are given it and trained.
They have to, because Horn Society was messing with them long before I use.
Yep.
And then, I mean, Horn Society, as I just said, would take the Bandit kingdoms, the Western Bandit lords, and force them to go attack the Shield lands. The only reason why that ended was because I used conquered the Horn Society, and the bandits all fled to go home to warn their people Ayuz is coming. And then the Ayuzians come marching through and jack up the holy realm of the Shield lands. To me, it's like a devastated feudal England and France that has a whole bunch of happy to die paladins. And anytime we needed some lawful good bozo NPC in the Bandit kingdoms to try and rally the population, right? You know, like, hey, we will fight these Ayuzians, someone that we could just immediately kill. They were always from the Shield lands.
Yeah, so in my campaign, the Bahamut himself decided to set an example. So he has now bolstered that realm and opened the coffers and invested into it and simply going to tell Ayuz and the other evil guys up there who can be boss, so to speak. So he sent one of his trusted, and that is Katarina, and he did that like 80 years ago. He sent one of an Arkel, one of his gold dragons, daughter Katarina, to get to be raised by the Walworth family as to get a human persona, so to speak. And so Katarina became a paladin of Heronius, of course, and got the persona and helped out in the Walworth family, and was sent to the court of Shendel to be the bodyguard of Belvoir. And so during the war, when the Walworth, when he was the leader of the Shieldlands, when he was captured by Eus and sent, Katarina actually led in my campaign, led the effort and went up to Ayuz and freed him and got him back home again. So she was a leader. So she's now an 18th level paladin, and she is, and it's simply a meritocracy. You have to beat her in combat in order to lead the order, and no one have so far. But they don't realize that she has like strength of 24, and she's a gold dragon of some merit, so to speak. So she's tough as nails and have a lot of hit points and stuff. So Heronius have put in, or Bahamut have put in a lot of effort into it. And so it's become this martial order of probably about 50,000 or so highly trained people who just want to go out and reconquer the land. So anyone who wants to come and show up and want to fight for them would get equipped, trained, and sent out in the field. So a lot of youngsters around the Flannies kind of like that idea. So that's
the Shieldlands Foreign Legion.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Anything going on with you, Mike, in the Shieldlands?
It's a parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So, okay. Where shall we go here? Let's talk. I want to talk Keeland.
Yeah.
Right. Considering this is another, how many split offs from Keeland do you have? Well, you have almost everything in this entire area.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going all the way up to Bissell, Grand March. I guess Geoff was technically not. It played tribute to, but Sterich was all.
Think so. Yeah, I think a lot of them were. But Keoland was this former empire that kind of have retreated into its central core right now, and nothing else.
Yeah. So Keeland has a long king.
Yeah, I think it's the longest established country in the Flannies that is continuously being ruled by the same governing structure, so to speak. It's been around for, what is it, like 3,000-4,000 years since after the Vecna Empire fell apart and stuff, and the migration.
So what Judy said, like if they killed off the king or not during Living Ground.
Well,
I don't think they did. I think
it was one of the few times that they didn't kill everyone off.
Exactly, it's one of these that it's changed on the fringes. They lost some and so on, but the core is still there and seems to just beyond. But they're this kind of empire in decline, so to speak. They're still powerful and at least have a lot of pomp and circumstance probably and
Except
rituals and their capital has been around for 2,000 years almost and stuff. So it's
the
kind of
oldest kingdom
established. Yeah,
in the
established
planets.
kingdom.
It's older than
Yeah.
the great. It's older than the Great Kingdom.
Oh yeah, it's been
Yeah.
around for probably 500 years before the Great Kingdom was
Yeah.
formed or something like that.
But you have all these break off. All of
the
these.
Pomarsh was run by the
Yeah.
Keelland at one spot.
Well-
Selene, the Wild Coast part of it.
Ooh,
They,
Selene
yeah.
was too. I was.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
At least for the most part. Yeah, the Uliks were
I know
run
the
by
Uliks were. I
Shieldlands.
didn't know
Yeah,
about Selene. I thought anything in the Sheldamar as the Pomarsh picked out, because the Pomarsh was actually part of the Principality of Ulik at one point, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Bissell, definitely Bissell and Graham March, and all the
Yeah.
way down to Armory, but not the Sea Princes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Sea Princess is one of these kind of ungoverned. Mike, what is the governmental structure of the Sea Princess?
The Sea Princes.
Yeah.
It's probably like the Bandit Kingdoms. It's some faux nobility that have conquered the place and they rule, through strength.
Bandit Kingdoms on water.
I guess
Yeah.
they're more organized than I lead on. There's two princes, nominally. One of the princes who probably does have an actual bloodline to Q-Land.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're better than the Bandit.
There are some
Isn't
sort of
canon?
institutions. Sorry.
it
Hmm?
was.
Sorry, and isn't the canon that the Sea Princess was founded by a Kiowish noble?
I would.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to
it's
go to it
Rolla.
here. So yeah.
Yes.
Right. Someone like in the 300s or some 200s, something like that.
Yep.
Went to Westkeep or something like that, or Monmurg, and founded some pirate city, and they were okay with slavery, right? Because people were going to get slaves from the jungle to the south.
Yeah.
But real quick,
Yeah.
because I'm going to drop off, because really the rest of the planet outside of the Bandit Kingdom, I don't know much about the government.
Woohoo!
But you were talking about Keeland. I have submitted my write-up of the town of Seaton. If you scroll, Jay, by Saltmarsh,
Mhm.
Oh.
Seaton is the next door neighbor town to Saltmarsh and makes appearances in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, et cetera, et cetera.
Here's
I have
Saltmarsh.
sent my write-up to the prestigious Gary Holian, the expert on Keeland, to ask for his input because, I don't want to make any glaring errors. And then as soon as I get the thumbs up from him, I'm going to submit that to Christoph at the Orth Journal.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's a pretty big write-up. It's about 8 pages right now. I think Christoph was a little bit mad at me when I told him it was that big, but
Ooh.
I hope
They
anyway.
have an issue. Yeah.
I based it off of Jason Zavoda had found this map of this great town in Wales called Conway Castle.
Gotcha.
And he uses it for something else. I think he uses it for Verberbach or divers or something. I forgot what. But I used it for Seaton. So just real world inspiration. And now I want to go to Wales. And I used to live in England and I never wanted to go to Wales. But now I do.
But yeah, Wales is kind of awesome. Yeah. Wales and Scotland. England is cool. England is cool too. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. This map here is cool because you have all of, this is all appears in the only thing in 5e you're going to find Greyhawk wise in Ghost of Saltmarsh is this area of the map, right? You're going to find all that around. So you have some things. Casey just dropped. Casey pulled a Len Kafka there.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, but he said that he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
needed to go. So.
But then you have this little Dunmounds town here. There you go.
Yeah.
My selfish
Okay.
plug. There
yeah.
you go.
So
That
who
was my selfish
governs
plug.
Dunmount town
What's
or
that?
village? Who governs in Dunmounts?
The halflings that are left.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
A couple halflings, because if you run
Okay.
it, you'll see.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
but note the
Hobbitocracy.
yes, just a little hobbitocracy. But that is still part of this is still part of the Kingdom of Keeland.
Yep.
So
mhm.
why is this phone ringing? It never
This
rings.
kind of-
Whoa, phones. I hate it.
Yeah, that's it's a landline. Of course, it rings now, and I'm not answering
yeah.
it. So,
It's the worst.
all right, let's talk about. It's going to just ring and ring and ring till there it goes. It goes off. So,
Oh yeah.
Dragons Never Forget put about the county of Ulick. I don't. He's a count, not a king. The count, and it's a druid in the County Ulick, which is, you know,
Druid.
I don't
Yeah.
put him on the level of a king there. I know
Yeah,
you
no.
say in here that that's on the list for living Greyhawk has different monarchies, which is it's not it may be a monarchy of a level of, but not a king level.
But
So
it's interesting because in when you read the Gazetteer or the Living Greyhawk Gazette, then these like Ulick and Ernst states are equal to in status as a lot of the other ones. So it's interesting that a duke or a count is in that level, is on the same level as a king, which is kind of So at least I think they should be principalities at least. But it's
Right.
I think it comes from the Great Kingdom days, because in the Great Kingdom, these were probably just provinces run by a duke or something. And then
Thanks, Casey.
when they became independent, they didn't level up themselves. And it's like in my campaign, it's like in the official published sources of Furundi, for instance, the provinces are the baronies and count and some of them are counties, but a lot of them are just regular. They have still local status, like their baronies and stuff like that, viscounts and stuff. And so now in my campaign, they have leveled up, so to speak. So they are now counties, archbaronies, and stuff, and earldoms and so on. So they are now properly, because those local, they didn't want to be barons and be on the same level as some petty noble from some obscure little part of whatever. They wanted to be properly recognized as provincial nobility, meaning they wanted to be on par with a provincial ruler in Nyrond or Keoland or something like that. So and in my games, those are important things. It's very important. It was like, you get, in order to get audience at a court, you need to be able to state all the proper title of the ones you want to talk to. And in my campaign, they had to spend, in a previous campaign, they had to spend like 2-3 sessions just to gather, to make sure they got all the titles properly, so they could address the court properly in order to be let in and heard. So that's.
So a real exception to all the governing bodies of the Greyhawk is the Yeomanry. Let me just read this real quick.
Yeah.
So they have a democratic tradition. And it says here, the Kiewish monarch regarding yeomen as persons of general birth and their appointed spokesman as lesser nobility gave the region a voice in council. So many thousands of yeomen served in the Kiewish military for decades, and then so what happened was, it says all those bearing arms, all those who have borne them in the past, and artisans and craftsmen are now entitled to elect spokesmen. So it's not an entire democracy where everyone votes. It's still a select group, but they do. It's the largest voting block, it sounds like, out of any place in the Flannis.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
And the freeholder must be elected from one of the several score of greater landowners, but he is ruled by the Council of Common Gross Spokesmen. I probably said that wrong. With South Jersey accent, sorry. He conducts government affairs and directs free captains of the battles. So there you go.
I think that's a Swiss title.
Is it?
Because the yeomanry is based a lot from Switzerland in the governing structure, I think.
Okay.
And Pearland has a lot of the names from Switzerland, but the yeomanry is very much based on the idea of Switzerland.
Yeah.
When it comes to governing, because Switzerland was governed that way, so I think they took inspiration
German,
from
Swiss, or Austrian,
from Switzerland from when it comes to that. That's probably why we have a Switzerland and an Austria and a Germany, because they were governed differently. Germany was a lot of small little city-states and noble estates or whatnot, and Switzerland was a yeomanry, basically, where the people gathered together and chose their own lords from their own ranks. And then Austria was part of the Habsburg Empire, and that's why they are now 3 German-speaking entities or different countries, so to speak.
I heard that recently they think that it was just a bunch of tribes in the mountains in the Swiss, and then the ex-Templars showed up and said, we're going to take over everything, and that's why it's almost like a Templar flag on the Swiss flag.
Well, there might be, yeah, but Switzerland, but it's what I wanted to say, meaning that you have 3 different German countries because they have different governing traditions back in the day, so to speak. So that's why they're kind of different. They have different political history and stuff, despite the people being very similar and speaking the same language and stuff. So if but Swiss speaks 4 languages. So yeah.
Wow, yeah, because it's a crossroads. Yep. So if you want an area where you want to do an area with a lot of intrigue and diplomacy, and on the Democratic end, this would be the place.
Yeah, if you want, especially if you want the characters to grow up and feel like they live in more kind of a state where they can probably have free speech and go about doing what they want to, then it's a good spot to be in, so to speak. It's probably one of the most idyllic countries that way. But I always believed that the Ernst countries were one of these kind of idyllic. The county and the duchy of Ernst.
Really?
Yeah, I got the sense that they are.
I don't know about that. I
always get the sense when I read it that especially the county of Ernst seems to be this
the duchy's
kind of
all Sul, isn't it? Which one of them is a very Sul nation? I thought
that's the duchy is the most Sul one. Yeah. And the county of Ernst, but I get the sense that no major wars, no major political whatever. Meaning you could be a farmer in county of Ernst, and you can. It's a bit like the Shire from the Middle Earth kind of thing. So if halflings want to live somewhere where there is like peace and quiet, and they can live in their village and do their craft and their whatever, then county of Ernst seems to be a good place to do that. And this seems to be governed well, so to speak. They have kept all the major wars at bay, no IUCN invasions, no death tyrants, no undead rulers and stuff like that. So to me, it seems like County of Ernst is almost as close to the properly governed principle. Villuna and County of Ernst seems to be the most nicely well-governed places in the Flannies, to me. Seems like it, yeah.
So it sounds like in this that the Ernst broke away from Nyrond.
Yeah, you get, and Casey has a good point. It's idyllic that you get butt raided by BKers. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so southern Ernst then. Yeah, the southern county of Ernst then.
Good to see you, West. 22 months, my gosh. So yeah, it doesn't go over in this book much on the backgrounds of the governments of each. What they have a count and a duke.
They seem like very feudal places where you serve your lord and you stick to your spot, so to speak, and you serve your lord, and then you can live in peace.
Mike,
as long as you do that.
Yeah, Mike, you got a place you want to discuss?
Oh, I was just thinking about how I did a blog post once on best place to retire in Greyhawk.
Okay, yeah. So where did you end up?
The number one place, of course, was the city of Greyhawk, just because it has all the conveniences that your character could want. I was looking for the post, found it.
Okay.
But
what's next?
The number 2 was actually tied between the County Ulick and the High Folk.
There you go.
Really? Why the County Ulick? Because there's nothing going on there?
Yeah, we're talking about retirement.
Yeah, Ulicks, exactly. You don't want anything to go on, so the Ulicks are high on the list. Okay, see,
High Folk.
You ruined the entire retirement plans of a whole bunch of people here. Yeah.
So Elvish realms governing.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
What about High Folk? High Folk's different than Selene. Very different than Selene as far as there's a mayor of the entire valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is well, there's an independent town, which you see right here, and then there's the whole valley's High Folk. So they have them both detailed in here. There's an earl, right? All right. So the Lord of the High Elves is referred to as nominal ruler. This is right in the book, but this is through general consent and respect. The word of a gnome prince, a village elder, or earl of a community of Sylvan Elves is listened to with as much respect. So it sounds like it's kind of a detente government in the Valley of the High Folk.
Yeah, I get the sense that, and that's something that I built, but I get the sense that the reason there is a High Folk there that is different from the Heartlands and others up in the Elven realm up in Vespi is that it's probably the most kind of half-elven place in Furundi, or sorry, in Flannies, because the reason it's not part of the Furundi is that probably there's some sort. remember, this was once part of the Great Kingdom, and it seems to me that they created some sort of a border realm where both the elves and the humans had some say in it, so to speak. So I get the sense that it was kind of a compromise between the elves and the Great Kingdom to create a sort of in-between realm that humans could pass through up to Parentland and stuff, and the elves could be part of governing, so to speak. And then
it's probably a meritocracy.
Yeah.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it. It also says here about the high folk independent town, the last line, the more restless sometimes take service with mercenary bands of Parentland or soldiery. So, and you got Parentland up here.
So I get the sense. But when it comes to the elves, Jay, you have them feudal. We have estates and lords and clans and stuff.
No, I have estates, but I don't have servant. The elves aren't serving. There aren't servant elves. That would be a feudal system where there's classes, right? No, I don't have it that
that's
way.
what the sources. Yeah, the sources say that is a very feudal place where you have lords and these kind of interdependencies that you have in feudal. I don't run my elves feudal.
I don't run elves feudal at all.
Exactly, same here.
I think it's more communal.
Yeah, I have them as, and this is kind of cool. I have a form of government that I didn't know the name of, but now after reading this, I know the name of it. Now I need to find where I put that. It's hang on, it's pedocratic. It's pedocracy. I'd never heard that word before, and I'm not sure if it's actually invented by whoever wrote this. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's ruled by the old and wise.
Okay.
So that's how I have my elves, that the elves, because they live so long, they have a long perspective on things, and they know that their kids is going to be around for 2,000 years from now or something like that.
Selene is not a matriarchy?
Well, we know
also.
I think I have it as a pedocratic monarchy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they
Pedocracy's here. Elven Realm of the Timeless Tree, that's a pedocracy. Definitely.
Yeah. So I have it as so it's simply they choose the oldest and the wisest, they elect them to be rulers, and they only have like very few elected positions, so to speak, and to be king or queen is one of them, and they basically sit for often until they want to step down, and that's so they can sit like 500 years or so.
I don't think it's a matriarchy at all.
I only say that because she's effectively immortal.
Yeah, but meaning they sit for like,
I'm saying that.
Yeah, meaning they sit until they feel like they want to do something else after 200 years or something like that.
I have a whole greater house structure and everything where there's an heir set already in case something were to happen.
So,
and it's a
matriarchy would be Vault of the Drow, right?
Gosh,
no
underdog.
I have the elves
as government talk.
I have the elves as they are very equal.
Hey, Blue,
I
good to see you, man.
So it could be a male one generation and the female the next, and then vice versa. So yeah.
Pedocracy ruled by children. No, I think it's a different. No.
Okay.
No, I think I understand what you're saying because of the way that the wording.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I took it because I didn't know and when I read the Catacombs guide, they came from there. So yeah.
Yeah, it could be something.
There's other terms for that.
So
I hope that some better.
We could go off on multiple different tangents on Selene that I really don't want to, because there's so many different ways we have Selene running.
Yeah, but I want to have them as ruled by the old and the wise, because the young elves want to be carefree and think that the old ones take care of business, so to speak, and governing.
I tend to agree on that. I mean, there's a lot of that frivolity there, but there's also,
elves start thinking about politics when they get like 300 years old or something like that. Before then, that's kind of not really high on their agenda.
Very cool. All right, so we haven't talked about at all. Well, how about your all, Mike?
Exactly, all. Yeah. So how do they elect their
Mongolia?
Special word for all in the government list. I will call it a craterocracy, which is ruled by the strong.
Yeah.
Conan types.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so as long as you're able to defeat all the challengers, you can run, so to speak, and then
but I don't know how nomad cultures work with governing.
governments
A lot
rose
of the
with
ones in the real
nomads.
world, they
It's-
are run by old and wise.
It's
weirdly
definitely a
enough. Yeah.
dictatorship. You know,
Okay.
whoever is in charge by birth or by combat
Yeah.
is in question ruler. All the other khans, defer to him. But all is also a singular clan that's a break off from the Paynins. I don't know how that works.
So-
I don't know how to classify them.
But in a lot of, oh, sorry.
Let me
James.
say one thing here. For and we have so many new people on in the last 6 months that don't know this. Okay, anything on this map was empty, and then Mike has completely developed all this.
Yeah, when it comes to all,
all
yeah,
right,
it's
just note
all
that
Mike.
this
Yeah.
is all Mike. Mike
Yep.
has done all the old
Yeah,
Yep.
that's on here,
And
so
done
please
so
note,
much awesome stuff.
99%.
99% of this is Mike's, which
Yeah.
is great.
Mhm.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, Anna.
No, I was gonna say isn't all run a bit like the mafia or
Mob.
organized criminals, meaning they have a
Um,
leader who sits there as long as he's powerful enough, but they also
Yeah.
usually have another very important. Anyone who's seen The Godfather
Sure,
knows that you have the
there's-
consigliere,
there's stuff in the background.
wise, the wise person who is the chief advisor is a very prominent person, and
Mike
maybe all
Fuckers.
can have that, so to speak. So you have rule by the powerful who can wield a sword or an axe better than anybody else, and he
Yeah.
dole out the orders in the way he see fit. But then you have that wise person that is the power behind the throne, who is equally important in many ways, not formally, but in reality, so to speak. That whispers in the ear of the
It's tribal.
yeah.
So, like Patrick says, tribal clan ruling.
Yeah.
There's khans of all the separate families, and they all defer to whoever the most powerful khan is, who becomes Aura Khan. And that's it. And if there's other people in the background pulling strings, then they're just they might be the plutocracy of all. They're the rich people who
Yeah.
just play off of whoever's currently in charge. Power
Yeah,
behind the thrones.
Yeah, and there you have the interesting, meaning different types of government have different main agendas for their governing, so to speak. And in a plutocracy, it's about getting as rich as possible. That's so you can. I think that the ruling oligarchy in Greyhawk probably put the amount of money they can put in their coffers as some of the highest. But in other parts, like the Pale, for instance, they might be seeking the favor of their god and be able to cast as high spells as possible and to use as much divine power as possible might be how they measure. So money is not the goal, but maybe a means in some ways. But so different governments might have, and then others is simply to rule as large area as possible or kill as many of a certain type of creature they don't like, kind of thing, or whatever. So different governments have different goals with their governing, so to speak. They are after different things, which can be interesting. Some governments are greedy, some are just power hungry, some are shy and scared and terrified, some are simply sclerotic, panicky, or whatever. So yeah.
So the Backlunish West, we got to touch that.
Yeah, they seem to be very
Sultanates mostly, I think.
They seem to be more religious than a lot of others. That their religion seems to be a high part of it. Meaning you have Ekbir is run by the ruling clerics and stuff like that. So you have they are borderline theocratic, most of them.
Tusman and Ket, I don't really. I thought Tusman and Ket were more mercenary.
They are exactly. They are not. Yeah, Ekbir and Zaif are a bit more. Are but they are the most powerful ones too. So the power ones have.
Interestingly, when I was researching government forms today, I found that theocracies are just a subset of oligarchies.
Yes. Yeah. That one subgroup. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
Yeah,
but the church and their entities that are under
there's
church,
one interest. It's a form of oligarchy. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But Ket's in particular is interesting. As I was reading about it, how their ruler has to be either or both a really good fighter or a spellcaster.
Yep. And that's a bit like meritocracy in that way, that you have to
Or
have
it
certain
could be
abilities.
borderline magocracy, which there are very
Yep.
few of.
And that's kind of cool because that's a fantasy type
Yeah.
of government we don't have in the real world. But if we had magic in the real world, we would definitely have it. So I think it's very appropriate. So yeah.
Mm.
Well,
And do we have any clear magocracies in
Yeah. The two on my list are the Brightlands,
yes.
the despot of the Brightlands. It's a dictator magocracy.
Yeah. That's
I assume if Rary's not in charge, then it's Robolar after him. So that may be confusing.
Barry's in charge of mine.
And
But do we
I
have-
guess technically the villain mage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say we have one other that could be that way, and that Hardby could be described that way too.
A
No.
lot of mages there.
No, but magocracy doesn't need to be mage, but it run by spell power, so to speak. Meaning you have to
No,
be
it's a
okay.
Gynarchy. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, but
Gynarchy.
it's a female. Meaning, don't you have to have spell power? Isn't the most spell power the one that runs
Maybe
it?
that's a coincidence.
I've been keeping Harby. I've been saving Harby. So all right.
Okay, sorry.
Let's
Yeah.
go. No, it's cool. Let's go to. All right. So
Yeah.
Harby's a mess, and let's just go
Okay.
there. And
Yeah.
we're gonna be in Harby tomorrow in my game.
Okay,
But it's
good.
a
Yeah.
one shot, and it's a
Mhm.
fun one shot. So, depending on your time frame in Harby, there's an organization in Harby called the Throne of Wood. All that is womanhood that you need to become, that you can become a member of. So we actually have PCs in the Throne of Wood. The Throne of Wood has the Gynarchs are selected from the Throne of Wood, and the Gynarchs then are the rulers. And there's one, Elena Norbalos is the ruler now, and she's ill and old. And this is where Alita Norbalos is next in line, and she's the evil one that works with the slavers, slave lords.
So
all that.
it's
Now in Living Greyhawk, they hack it apart, and just like anything else, and they have a merchant guild of Greyhawkers have usurped power in Hardby. That happened. And then they also there's another version where the military of Greyhawkers come in and basically overtaking it. So there's 3 different versions of what's going on in Hardby. I like keeping it as it was, the Gynarchy, because I don't think women aren't going to take crap from.
But who can become a
flavor.
Gynarch or Ginarch or however you say it? Is it enough that you're a woman by a certain family, or do you have to be a powerful sorceress, or
No, you don't have
both?
to be. No, you don't have to be a
Just
sorceress
a
at all.
Okay.
There are paladins, there are specialty
Mhm.
priests, there are fighters, there are thieves.
Yeah.
It's just
So
you have to
definitely not a
an adventure.
magocracy. So so it's like it's a hereditary rule within the family.
No, it's not. You have to earn your place in.
Okay.
So it's kind of.
So it's a meritocracy.
It's a Gynarch oligarchy
matriarchy,
with one ruler. Yes.
Okay,
Circle of
yep,
Eight is not all mages. 2
Yep.
cities, not roll. Yes, exactly. Public.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a little more diplomatic in that.
Oh.
The Circle of Eight does not run Greyhawk. The Thieves Guild, they exist in Greyhawk because it's the center of the Flaness, and that's where they
Yeah.
come together. Greyhawk City is run more by the Thieves Guild than anyone in Greyhawk. So. The Free City Greyhawk box set is the perfect place to understand the workings of Greyhawk, all the guilds, what goes on, all the substructure. It's a wonderful, wonderful publication. If you can't get a real box set, which is probably $150 now, get the PDF and just read it. It's an awesome read. Awesome read. Yep. No, it's cool. It's good. It's good to know that kind of. It's really cool. It's a great, great read. It's my favorite publication of all time, and it's got stuff in there that'll teach you how to run other cities, and how to set up, if you want to run your own town, how to set up the government in there, and you get ideas off there. The guilds, or the guild structure, the colleges. There's so much data in there. It's wonderful, wonderful. Jay said no. What? Oh, well, Jason said no too. Public said no too. So there you go. Go ahead, Mike.
What's that?
What go ahead. You commented. I said no. So go ahead.
You said no about talking about the Underdark.
I don't want to go to the Underdark on this discussion, please. Do we really want to go there?
There's plenty on
we
the
don't.
surface to talk about.
Yes, there's plenty on the
Yeah.
surface. We can do that another day. We can do that.
Yeah.
We can invite Greenwood back and have at it again. Menzo Barons and all day long and Errol Ice and Lou. So note, I think Harby is so cool because
Yeah.
of the Gynarchy setup, and
Mhm.
it is detailed in that
Yeah.
Living Greyhawk article. Here, I'm going to show you. Here's my pack. Now, I really need to get more organized in this, but here's all my crap, including the slavers. This is all my Harby stuff and my preps. So it's Earth Journal 10, and then the Living Greyhawk adventure from the Dungeon magazine, and they're combined together and edited and all that happy stuff with by
Wow.
Harby,
Awesome.
and cross-referenced. Yeah.
Mhm.
So there you go.
And yeah, I want to say something a little bit about alignment and governments. So,
Okay,
so
sounds good.
you can kind of incorporate, if you want, you can use alignment, because if you take the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, they actually put alignments and several other gaming books, so to speak. They put alignments to countries and different types of governing, so to speak. So and I could say, the way I see it is that chaotic or like lawful realms are run by laws and institutions, meaning there are constitutions or written rules and say who's ruling and what they can do, and also on succession, meaning there might be the rule saying that the king is replaced by his or her kids, so to speak, and it's inherited rule and stuff like that. And then you have more chaotic realms that don't have rules, and it's up to the ruler to stay in power as long as they want, and they can designate someone else, or they can, yeah, whatever. So meaning, so you have chaotic realms have the rulers decide from day to day or month to month or year to year what should be, and they don't have to tell the people what the rules are, so to speak, more than they want to, so to speak, and they can change the rules if they on the whim. That's kind of a chaotic state. And the Keoland is probably very lawful. They probably have rules and constitutions and regulations and stuff like that, says what the king can't do, and especially who can become king and whatnot, and who can't, and stuff like that. Nobility, they have rules who says who's and ledgers saying who is a member of the nobility and who is not. In chaotic countries, it might simply be the ruler themselves that's designated to say you are now a whatever, and you're part of this, and you govern that part. And then 1 month later, that person falls out of grace and say you no longer a ruler, and someone else comes in and rules. So you can have countries that can be as rigid as you want them to be, or you can have realms that are completely up to a whim, and characters can be a victim of it, or they can be hailed in glory by it, so to speak. So it's one of these things you can introduce uncertainty, or you can introduce rigidity in your campaign that can be both, can be annoyance, or they can be a safe haven. If you want the characters or the party to have a good home base that is secure and stuff, you can let them purchase a house in a city that is run by a well-governed, so to speak, so the house is there, and whatever you put in the basement stays in the basement, and so on. And then you can have them sometimes suffer from complete chaos rule, where the ruler simply say, oh, that looks shiny, I'm going to take it, and try and take it from the party. So it's there's a lot of flexibility, and you kind of play it very from one end of the spectrum to another, so to speak.
So Asher will kill us if we don't talk about the Great Kingdom at all. I know we went over just a little bit with the very first question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tabletop, thank you. But I put this in post. I've been doing this for 41 years, and I've learned stuff tonight. I never looked at divers in depth about them being basically a meritocracy, a democratic area. Yeah, it's a mess. So just note, we all learn with all these shows. And
Exactly.
That's the whole point of the shows. And so whether you're new or not, just, hey, please participate, please ask questions, and please put your comments in. And, if you're wrong and you make a mistake, it's no big deal, because we all want to learn here. We all want to, and that's the point of Legends and Lore. So, thank you. The GK is a mess, a fragmented empire. Yes. So if you go to Roxas, there is depending on the time frame, there's a government in Roxas.
Well, but realize that the Great Kingdom was a well-governed, lawful realm for centuries, meaning there was
with the Knights
institutions,
Protectors.
and the Knight Protectors were a lawful organization that adhered to the rules, and there were probably a constitution. They were well regulated, who was a prince and who was the ruler of a province and stuff like that. It was well regulated and detailed and kind of ran for almost a millennium, I think. It was like at least around the, yeah, at least for more than 500 years it was, and that's a fair bit of age. There are few countries in the world that are older than 500 years, than been governed by the same structure of set of laws and stuff for more than 500 years. So it's a middle-aged, at least, kingdom, and then it fell apart. But and it gradually, during the Ivid years, it kind of fell into complete chaos, and Ivid kind of came up with one more idiotic, grandiose idea, and he grabbed more and more of the power and all sorts of stuff. And then you had another classical thing, is that the fringe provinces started to ignore the central command, so to speak, and started to rule. Exactly, yeah, and so the North Province, the South Province, the Nyrond, Furion, Ferron and stuff, they simply started governing themselves and ignored the central commands from the Overking. And then over time, and then the Overking started going bonkers and seemed to have gone on a crazy ride himself, and then the whole thing kind of fell apart. So bad governing, both centrally and then when that started to happen, then you had more kind of self-governing by the provinces. And even in 576, both the North, especially the North, but both the North and the South province and Medigia are listed independently, like almost like nations, because they were in many respects self-governing entities already in 576, if you read the book, because they have their own entry like any of the other realms or countries.
So I just said to Dale, we need to have a Great Kingdom, another Great
Kingdom.
Oh
yes, yeah, we should have.
Right,
we should
Dale,
have.
So let's set a date up and time up.
Yeah. And then it fell apart into
in the very near future. Sound good? Yeah. So.
And also in itself, it's interesting because you have parts of the Great Kingdom and then afterwards that are as powerful and as many countries. And the one that I delved into in my previous campaign was the Principality of Reldeven. That is as powerful as many of the nations in itself, meaning you have the capital Reldeven is a metropolis of significant size, and there's several other towns and stuff that are big and powerful enough, so to speak. So and it has sub-provinces in its own right, meaning it has baronies and duchies and counties even under it, so to speak. So it's a principality, and that's what the interesting thing is. That's why someone don't want to be a baron in Furiundi or Nyrond when you can have a baron under a principality in Reldeven. And if you're a baron or a viscount of the mark in Furiundi, you rule something way bigger than a barony in Reldeven. So it's kind of and that's something you can play with, that the snobbery is probably very widespread in noble circles and stuff, in especially in old established nations like the parts of the Great Kingdom, Keoland and others. Snobbery, meaning they don't want to talk to you if you're not part of it, and if you don't address them properly, they will shun you, and they will fine you or put you in prison, maybe even if you speak badly to them. You have to praise them and so on, and address them properly and stuff, which can be a lot of fun because there could be different types of challenges that they're not used to. It's not fighting monsters, it's getting through the court life can be interesting. You can kind of, and the rewards are huge, because if you get the favor of the prince or the king or the duke or something like that, that could mean a good career, lots of money, and a decent income. And one of the coolest perks is that you get access to the king's smith. his bookkeeper, his court wizard, his court clerics, and others can give you spells and magic items and stuff like that. So you can kind of wield kings and powerful people. They wield a lot of indirect power, so to speak. They have access to cool stuff that you can use. So it's kind of, so that could be an interesting adventure to get in. Or you can do the other way around, and you can use government as the horrible anti-place to not be there, the ones that pester and torment and taunt the players and hinder them to do anything and everything.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. Sure, and
Yeah.
everyone knows who has it. Isn't the 9, Carlos is the 9 in Rel Astra? Where is the 9 located, everyone? I think it's Rel Astra, the brand new adventure.
The 9?
Yeah, Carlos's new module, the 9.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
that
in
I'm
Rel,
not sure.
yeah.
I think I heard something about
Yeah, I
Relasta,
think
but
it's
I'm
there.
not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Medesia. Okay. Oh, close enough. I was close. All right, Medesia. There we go. Thank you there. Sure. I knew you were one of the first to get it. So, very, very cool. See you, long shot. So, I want to put something out there, Icarus, who just said something back to a general discussion. It says, with Anna's knowledge of Greyhawk, I'd almost be afraid to be PC in campaign. All right. No, you ready for this?
Yep.
My guys have been playing with me for 40 years, and none of them know shit about Greyhawk.
Ditto.
Exactly, Mike. You're playing. So some of the you don't need to know a lot to be a PC. You're a little fish in a big pond. You don't need to worry about the canon. You just play.
Yeah.
Just play.
And I think that a good DM should not force the players to read and know all this stuff.
You don't need to know anything.
Yeah. And
certainly
that's
my
the
guys
thing.
don't.
Exactly. And the same thing with my players. It's one of these things that you delve in as much as you want, so to speak. And my obligation and job as a DM is to always have a little bit more content than the players demand and ask for. So that suspension of disbelief, the world should be infinitely detailed, should appear to be infinitely detailed, which means that I should always have a bit more detail than my players could reasonably want, so to speak. So if the players start going to court and asking for all this, I need to have that and more detailed.
Absolutely true, Wu-Tang. True,
yeah.
100%. One hex. You could have an entire campaign of one little hex.
Oh, exactly. Meaning I played 13 sessions now, and we played in one village. We haven't in one square mile. We haven't gone outside of that square mile yet. And it's 13 sessions.
One hex.
One hex.
Do you have available historical and current content for the players to read for context? Who's that directed to, Patrick? Because for my guys don't care about it. That's the thing.
They don't. Okay.
They don't care about the historical. They want to just play. I mean, my guys' brains are mush from working. They're all career people, and they just want to play and have fun. And leave the canon up to me. Now, Tim's working on his canon. And Tim's, before we started, Tim said, "Oh, there are no governments in Greyhawk because Tim's playing up here. Where basically, what kind of governments do you have up here except tribal leaders, right?"
The best historical content out there is on the Greyhawk.
Thank you for
the blog, Graph Musings.
Oh yeah, so yeah, absolutely. For historical content, here I'm gonna link David Leonard's.
Yeah. But Patrick, I want to answer your question a little bit. For me, it's very important. I want to have all that content available for my players, not necessarily to sit and read all that between session, because sometimes it's not written down to be really readable that way. But what I do is that I explain things in between when there's dead moments in the campaign and nothing really happens and stuff. I explain things that happens to them, so to speak. And the other part is I explain because they're characters, meaning if a character is 10th level and an archwizard or like a 5th level druid, a 5th level druid knows a lot about the old faith and the flan and all that. But the player that might be the first time the players played in Greyhawk, and especially might never played in my campaign. So that means that I feed details to the player that the characters know. So the characters probably know way more than the players. So then it's my job as a DM to kind of present that in a cool and interesting way in bite-sized pieces as needed, so to speak, for the player to make interesting choices and to keep the player agency, because I don't want to force feed and say, oh, that's the way Druidism work and your character needs to make this decision and so on. So player agency, but pair that with cool background information that the player can kind of, oh, I want my druid to take this part and so on. So inspiration, I think, is the key here to the game, so to speak. Player agency, inspiration, and give the players freedom to roam, so to speak. That's the key.
Mike, all your players, they're just interested in their what's going on in their little world in your campaign, correct?
Yeah, the only time we actually got into the politics of the situation was when I was running long-term Greyhawk City campaigns. Yeah, and the only reason they got into the politics is because I kept messing with them in the politics. So they figured out the only way to stop messing with them is if they run the city.
Yep.
So it was really an adversarial campaign when it got to a higher level.
Yeah. It's so my guys know what I want them to know. And what they care to know, and that is they know the Order of Ulick, they know the structure of the Order of Ulick, because the entire campaign is based around it, right? If we're adventuring in Norwell, they know about the city of Norwell. If we're adventuring in Harby, they know what's going on in Harby.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're adventuring in Greyhawk or the Shieldlands, they know what's going on in those locations. They don't need to know. They don't care about.
If you go to the Kingdom of Feriandi, you have your default assumptions, and you're probably going to be right most of the time.
Right.
Yeah. And Elhawk, you said something that some people are ignorant and so on, and I think that's ignorance is bliss at times, so to speak. So my players, I assume that some players are very interested in all aspects of my campaign, including the political and whatnot. And some players are partially interested because it might help them win whatever, and it's kind of and some players that just want to sit down and cool and kill things and so on. So you can play a character that is kind of ignorant and simply. I play a barbarian who likes to bash the skulls of humanoids or whatever, and they simply they are the bronze of the party, not the brains, so to speak, and their characters are the ones that carry things out.
I think one of the central conceits of D&D though is that you're eventually going to run into a lot of governing nobility.
Yes,
and stuff.
Exactly.
That's the setup for so many classic modules.
Mm-hmm. And early days, we have to remember the early versions of the game, you were supposed to become a politician, meaning the ruler of a keep or something. And get followers and all that and play part of it. A
lot of rules.
And the wargaming roots are kind of fantasy politics, meaning you were supposed to run an army and fight against enemies and squabble over land.
You're a 9th level fighter. Now you have a castle, a keep, and a bunch of followers. What? Where'd all these stuff come from?
Exactly.
So in a way, so the game has been depolitized or cleansed from politics to a large degree in the later editions, and in 5th edition Player's Handbook it's hardly mentioned. In DMG has some stuff.
You had to take a feat.
Exactly. You take a feat, then you can get it. So and again, I think this is one of these things that are optional rules, meaning if you want to run your campaign into this territory, there's rich rewards and interesting intrigue and whatnot. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about monsters or whatever. You can do it. You can use governments and politics and stuff as an arena to play on, among others. But you can also skip it or you can use just for flavor. Meaning a lot of DMs, they just use it for flavor. They say, oh, there's a mayor and he's a fat guy who is corrupt beyond belief, or you have this kind of thin ascetic cleric that just seems to serve his own devilish religious purposes or whatever. So you can just have it for flavor without specifying it, or you can go deep into political intrigue and have the players the characters play a huge part of it.
There's the wonder of Greyhawk, and that you can go multiple different directions in your gameplay. You know, and you can go however you want. And for me, it's dependent on where we're playing at.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it just is. And
Yeah.
throw some little fun things in there depending on the,
Yeah.
you know, you
Yeah.
gotta have your own flavor to it. If you're running a
Yep.
canon, 100% canon adventure, you're gonna canon world. You're gonna go crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You need to diverge off it. You start at a point somewhere and then go your own direction. That's
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
suggestion.
And this is one of these, I think, dimensions of your campaign building and your adventuring that you can incorporate as much or as little of as you want
Yep.
to. But I think every DM should consider this arena and start thinking, how much do I want of it, and what part to do. It's like it's one of the cherries you can pick and put in your pie if you want to, or you can skip it if you want to.
And that's the wonderful thing about having a government set up and knowing
Yeah.
there's references. And like I said, I always recommend the Free City of Greyhawk box set as a great starting
Yes.
point, even if you're not adventuring Greyhawk, but just to
Yeah.
see what's available and what's out there and the detail that
Yep.
was set in that one. So
We're running low on time, and the only thing left on my list I need to know an answer to because I couldn't find it.
go for it.
Is what is the government type of the Scarlet Brotherhood?
Oh, that is a
That's a good question.
yeah, it's interesting. You can run it as a theocracy in a way, I guess. If
Before the Scarlet Brotherhood came out, I thought they were atheistic.
But I would say totalitarian is a word that comes
that's a broad term.
meaning it's a
there's different types.
totalitarian because I get it. They are very ideological, totalitarian,
So
meaning
then
the
below
government
that, what's the
wants to
mechanism?
run
Right?
every aspect of
I
their
think it's
realm.
authoritarian.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's all,
that's
yeah, but it's also
three
Mhm.
parts.
yeah. So it, and
Authoritarian,
and it's and very
totalitarian.
I
yeah.
think it's authoritarian.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be one single. It's not autocratic. It's not one single ruler. It's
Mateus is right there. The front for it is feudal plantation lords managed by the Red Robe monks.
Yeah.
yeah.
But in reality, there's a different.
See you,
mechanism
Canadian.
for
See you,
that.
Patrick.
Yeah.
The Father of Obedience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who is,
Knight.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's interesting, and it also depends on who are behind them, so to speak. Meaning, what is their source of power? Is it a
Tomorrow,
realm
Patrick.
serving the Thoristun, or are they just
Fun tomorrow
people
night,
who want to uphold
I think it's
Sul
just an
traditions?
ideology. I think it's
Yeah, and-
ideology.
Yeah, and it's kind of rare because we don't have that many ideological governments in the Flannies or the great world of Greyhawk, and they are one of them. And meaning, what ideology is there, so to speak? Meaning,
Well, there was the
Yeah.
Horde Society was.
yeah, but
If-
we do, yeah,
The Scarlet Brotherhood had one archmage, like rare or something like that. He would rule the entire place. So I don't
Mhm.
think that. Really think the monks got some kind of ideology control
Yeah.
over the rest of the
Yeah.
populace, and like almost to the point where it's what was that one about the wise? I think the monks are at the top. You know, they're the learned ones,
yeah.
and then below that's the assassins,
Mhm.
and then there's the thieves. So the ones below the monks are not like very smart.
So
But are they a
Compared to-
meritocracy, meaning the most skilled
Maybe
monk becomes the
meritocracy.
ruler
there's
and
a
the most
class
skilled
structure in
thief and
fascist
stuff?
society,
Yeah,
so it
it's-
falls
Yeah.
right into that
There's
totalitarian.
definitely
fascist.
totalitarian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
meaning that it's totalitarian in that way that they seem the Scarlet Brotherhood seem to be regulating and governing
Yeah.
more aspects of people's lives in their
Yeah,
realm than
there's
most
factions
others.
with the religions and things.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have any control.
But do they
over
have
it.
much of a religion? Do they?
Well, they do. They
The
worship
standard Sul.
The Sul, the
deities,
Sandal
yeah.
Sul gods. Okay,
But
yeah.
I don't
I-
think they should be as.
But they are not. Are they run by clerics that
There's
dictates
no cleric
religious
faction.
faith? Ah, okay.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I have a theory that the Scarlet Brotherhood is another reason why WotC won't touch Greyhawk.
That
Just
might be exactly
thought,
there.
but,
Yeah, you have
but-
a lot of bad
Yeah,
vibes,
yeah.
but and that I think is another thing that I think need to be addressed, and especially times like this. I think a fantasy world should have a lot of bad stuff like slavery, oppression, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Should be in a fantasy world, and
Very evil.
conflict, but it should be depicted as evil, meaning slavery
Right,
and,
right.
and
Evil, but
oppression
they
and
can't
stuff
be
like that.
too realistic, right?
Yeah, another
No,
place
yeah.
and another
Yeah.
time once that
Exactly.
discussion.
Yeah,
So-
but it's
But
part
okay,
of
the
governing.
government I
Meaning,
couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
and it is an interesting one because it has aspects that are different from a lot of other governing. It's not the regular feudal lord or king or something. It's
No,
a bit
it's
different.
special. Yeah, it's definitely special.
And yeah, someone said meritocracy earlier because, like in the monk rules for the game, you have to win to go up
Yeah.
the rank,
And
right?
druids are the same way. They also have that,
Yeah.
especially in the first edition
Assassins,
rules.
druids, they all do.
Yeah, druids that
Yeah.
you're supposed to fight the other ones in order to
Yeah.
become
At 12th.
Right.
yeah.
12th, 13th. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's only a couple times. Monks have it a lot more. So, all right.
Yeah.
What an interesting discussion tonight.
Yeah, it's a
So-
little bit disparate, but I'm sorry I babbled so
No,
much
it's
at first,
good.
but
This
yeah.
is good.
Mhm.
This is one of those where we're all over the place, but it's a good thing
Yeah.
because a lot.
Mhm.
Like I said, I learned stuff I did not know. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to learn something during a discussion, and that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
So, as far as what's going on in the world, Mike, what do you have going on? You got anything exciting?
Just playing D&D. I got 2 or 3 game nights a week. I'm about. I got 4 more years left on tweaking my blog.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
There's an interesting entry I came across the other day where I was talking about the state of the Greyhawk community, and it was like 5 or 6 years ago. And
Yeah.
the Greyhawk community was pretty in bad shape. It wasn't as cohesive, and then things started happening, and now where we are today, it's complete 180. So
Yeah.
coming across that made me pretty happy.
So, yes, that's true. That's true. Things are going well, but
Yeah.
they can always be better.
Exactly. Yeah. Things can always be better.
We can
Yep.
always continue to, and that's what we're attempting to do. So, and we'll discuss some of that
Otherwise,
coming up.
no projects.
Okay. So we need to see where we are with. And look at that, we got Wiley coming in here. Good, hey Scott.
Awesome.
Hey,
Hello.
Good to see you, Scott and Wiley. If you haven't checked out Wiley Hobbit, please do. Thank you so very much for coming in. You got in just in time, man. We haven't done the giveaways yet, so
Perfect.
good
Yeah.
good timing there. Good to see you all, and thank you so very much for that raid. So Anna, what's up?
A bunch of things. So this might be a little bit of a long one. First, the Trials of Arcadia is the Gryffindor Games Kickstarter
Oh.
just funded, and it will have a bunch of my maps in it. So I'm going to post a link and it's 23 more days to go. So anyone who's interested should definitely consider pledging to it. There will be a hex scroll maps that will be kind of cool. That is that will be by me. So that part of that. We also played this Sunday. We played the 13th session of my Shieldlands campaign, and they have now secured the keep. It took
Nice.
2 sessions, and they are now 2nd level.
Woo!
And they beat so
They're
they
rolling
beat
right
the,
along now.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on the last Gabbin, so to speak. That's just when it happens. So they're rolling along. So it's kind of interesting. They are soon get immersed deep into politics. We'll see how many more 2 or 3 more levels, and they will be knee deep in the quagmire of Shieldland politics. We'll see. Or they might flee it altogether. We'll see. So that is happening. And
Awesome.
yeah, and then also today I posted on my Patreon blog. I posted the Earth Planetary Model version 1, so to speak. So I made so I consider this a good starting point, so to speak. It will be everyone who knows my mapping know that I'm never satisfied. I will go back and refine it over time, so to speak. But it's good enough to do the initial job. And what I wanted my Earth planetary model was to be the basis to start the GIS mapping, and to get into mapping it properly, and to start doing a planetary model. So it's kind of, yeah, I think I've got a lot of praise for it, and I've been like 5 or 6 iterations to come here, and I thank everybody who helped me with comments and all sorts of stuff. You made that model way better, and like I said, it's not final, but it's good enough to be a workhorse or a base going forward, so to speak. So it's going to be, I'm going to the new, it's not finished yet though, because I'm going to make a map of, I'm going to look at the polar ice cover in winter and summer, and I also want to do an ice age version of it that is coming too.
Oh wow.
So yeah, because I think it's kind of cool, because that opens up a lot of possibilities, and I want to know what the ice age Earth might look like for previous references to historic things, to biology and stuff like that. So I want to have that as a base. And if you want to get rid of some deserts, an ice age world might be the thing to do it, so to speak. So I just
cool.
out of curiosity, I want to do that, so that hopefully I can have that done during July is my idea of doing it, so to speak. And then now I will the mainstay will be going into Lendor Isles and start prepping for the new version 21 version of the Atlas and the Flanny's map update this fall, and a secret project that I've been planning for a couple of years, and now I've actually had the time to sit down and start working on it. So next on the fantasy mapping show in July, I will show the first sample of the whole new line of maps, so to speak. And we'll see if that is something that people might interest in. This is an experiment on my part. I've never done a type of map like this before, really. So it's a map, and it has to do with Greyhawk and the world of Greyhawk. That's all I can say for now.
Friday, July 16th. 8 p.m.
Yeah, and my patrons will get a sneak peek a few days before the show, or a week or 2 before. So soon, as soon as I have a first test area done, and I wouldn't say area because it's not 3D mapping as normal. This is a completely different workflow and something I wanted to do in a long time. So we'll see if it's going to be, if people like it, then we can do more of it. And I wanted it as a kind of a complementary version of my current maps. So it will be kind of hopefully cool. So that is coming. Happy clouds. Yes, happy clouds can be added. Yeah. So I leave the happy clouds for Alyssa for now. We'll see. Yeah. But there might be happy clouds on that one. We'll see. Yeah. But I think the 3D maps are probably better with 3D clouds. And Alyssa is so cool because you can combine the two. I haven't figured that out yet, so we'll see. But so that is the coming, and yeah, that was about it.
That wasn't too bad.
No, it's not too bad. So I was afraid it was going to be too long, but not too bad.
So here we go. Tomorrow night, back to Harby. Return of the Fog to Harby. So if you if you probably don't remember this, a lot of you, because it's been 40 or 50 adventures since I did this. And I'm going to pop up a picture or two real quick. I should have had these prepped. I apologize. Jay's not prepared. So here comes the fog rolling in. And this is back in the day. Yes. And
it looks so cool.
Yes. So there you go. The fog is rolling in. This is during the Harby Wars. So we will. It'll be something similar. And a person of how do I put this? A person of notoriety will be making a reappearance, and that's all I'm going to say there. So if you know who I'm talking about, you'll understand that it is a person of high level. Hatred, one of the most hated characters in the game, will be making a reappearance of some sort tomorrow night. Plus, it's Infinite Dimensions giveaway STL files, some really great stuff from them. Ill Repute. This person was an actual player character Yes. So there you go. That'll be tomorrow night. Great. Fun. It'll be a one shot too, because I got people, all my guys are on vacation, going away and stuff. So I got to fit this all in one session. Sunday, a wonderful, wonderful Gavin show. All right. And we do these every 6 months or so. Probably should do them more.
You should do them way more often.
Yeah. I should. You're absolutely correct. That 3D
they're so
printing
good.
and terrain will be the topic. Mike Disney himself will be on, Bill the Master Crafter, and for the first time ever, the owner and the brains behind Gamescape 3D, Jeremy, will be on at least for the first hour of the show.
Awesome.
Now, just to show you some of the stuff that's coming, this is the ruined castle print from Jeremy from Gamescape that that took a multiple amount of time to print, and Bill's working on it. That's the first floor of the ruined. I mean, just look at the size of this thing. He's adorning it up now as we speak. It is so unbelievably huge. I mean, look at the size of this thing. You know, this is some of the things we're going to be talking about. This is all 3D print. Here's the second floor. I mean, look at those are it's like 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet. I can't wait to get that out. Some of the things we're going to discuss, and terrain, and the tilt wall. This is Gamescape 3D as well from Gary Kahn. That's all Gamescape 3D. So we're going to talk a lot of the art of crafting with all three of these gentlemen, who are all experts in their own right, one way or another in the industry. So yeah, Sunday night, going to be a great show. It'll be on our normal Gavin show. 7:30, and I guarantee you some great giveaways. Jeremy's going to give away that entire tower setup that we gave away last Thursday. Again, that's $60 in STLs. We're going to be giving it away. Plus, we're going to give away multiple Art of Mike Disney prints, at least one, I should say. We're going to give away some Art of Mike Disney prints as well, and maybe a painted Scarn figure as well. So Sunday, 7:30. That'll be it. So I have a short week, only 3 streams this week. I feel like something's wrong here, that I have a normal week. All right, here's what's coming up in the future. We already talked about this. Saturday, July 3rd, the ever mysterious Tim is DMing in the morning, 10 a.m. Desperate Land. This is the first level barbarian group. Looking forward to that. Tim's DMing. The Saturday after that is Casey DMing his Bandit Kingdoms. Then we have this is the big fundraiser coming Saturday, the Saturday after that, Saturday, July 17th, the Bad Adventure fundraiser event. I've been told by some people, you're calling puppets and gargoyle bad adventures? Yes, I am. If you don't like it, sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's and this is all to benefit St. Jude. It'll be our second St. Jude fundraiser. It's just going to be 2 streams, Blue Box and me. John maybe do a third stream before the other 2 streams. Hey, have at it, John. I can do one. Eric Mona and James Jacobs have confirmed. Still working on Luke Gygax and a couple other big names for this fundraiser event. Stella's playing in it too. In Gargoyle, I'm gonna be running. Oh my gosh, and it'll be for fun, right? And it'll be for St. Jude, our favorite charity. Hopefully we'll raise some money for them for that. And then everyone knows Greyhawk Con is coming. The signups for virtual Greyhawk Con is coming very soon. You will be able to sign up and register on July 1st and put your DM events in July 1st. This is very quick, very, very quick, and then we'll call it here. Friday, here's our Friday streams. The TBDs they haven't given me the titles yet. Friday, all locked in for highlighted streams. Saturday's highlighted streams. Saturday's highlighted streams. There you go. All right, we got them. We're working on them. Sunday highlighted streams. We have the schedule pretty much worked out for the highlighted streams and who's going when. It's just a matter of them giving me the details for all the. Now, it doesn't mean there's not going to be other streams, but this is the highlighted stream schedule. It's all going to be on everyone's own channels, so you don't have to worry about, where, when it's going to be. It's going to be on their own channels. You'll be able to find them. So, didn't Skip Williams write Gargoyle? Yes, he co-wrote it. Yes, he did, Cal Staff. He did. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't. So Doom Grinder was in the discussion, and I was thinking about it, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I can't.
It's so bad that we
It's-
don't
I
want to.
can't.
It's
Yeah.
like, do you hate the city of Greyhawk? Then Doom Grinder's
Awesome.
your adventure.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
all-
exactly. Do you want to
that's
destroy Greyhawk? Then you have at it with the Doom Grinder. Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool, Wiley. So yeah, Wiley,
Well,
get
I
with me with the
skip-
exact title so I can put it in there, and then exactly what you're going to put into it on July 1st. I'm asking all the highlighted streams to get in their events as quickly as possible so I can get that collated. And please, if you're going to DM, the earlier you get in your events, the better, because the next month, August 1st, people can start signing up for them. So, but please, if you have questions, just get with me. People have been asking me. I know Alan Growy's DMing. I know Les is DMing. I know Casey's DMing. A lot of Anna's thinking about. Anna, you're thinking about doing something too, maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of great people that are going to be DMing. Wiley's going to have multiple streams. All those highlighted streams are going to have at least 1 or 2 signups too. So it's not going to
Yeah.
be closed. They're all open. All right.
Yeah.
There's not
And
gonna be
remember,
closed
if you
events.
sign up for my game, there will be a political test to go before you. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Last call for the giveaways. Last call. By the way, we're raiding into Stella tonight, who's running Ghost of Saltmarsh. So we are raiding into Stella tonight afterwards. Sure, Wiley. I don't have a link to it, but what's the date? Type it in, please. The Greycast podcast is coming, and I think it's July 5th. Did I guess that right? Monday, July 5th, Wiley, is when it starts. The Greycast podcast. I think the Gary Julian interviews first.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
Wiley, please feel free to link that for me. Yeah, drop it in the
Very
chat. It's
cool.
cool, man.
that
Absolutely.
is the most anticipated podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
They haven't
ever.
interviewed me
Could've
yet
used
because
yours,
we haven't
right?
set a time yet, but they want to interview me for it too, and I'm looking forward
Cool.
to that
Yep.
as well. There you go. Awesome, man. Very, very cool. All right, winner gets to choose which one of 2. The second winner gets the second one for these 2. This is the original 80 folio, and the adventure begins at 2.5 Roger Moore one. All right, we'll give those both away. For some reason you're out of the country, I will figure out a gift certificate in lieu of, because I don't want to spend all that money in shipping when we can do something else. All right, closing it out. I haven't. Don't curse yourself, Jay. I haven't hit a wrong button tonight. Have I?
Well, you still have not yet.
I
as
don't
far as
think I
remember.
have.
No, but there's still a couple of more minutes.
yeah. Big
Yeah.
Jim the 4th. There you go, Big Jim.
Awesome.
Yay!
Which one do you want, Big Jim?
Congratulations.
Yeah, no problem. Wiley, it's a community, man. It's all good.
Yeah.
Adventure begins. You got it.
Yeah.
You got the adventure begins. The
Good
winner
choice.
of the Greyhawk World of Greyhawk folio from 1980 is Rocks. There you go.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Great.
Bill Rocks. There you go. Very, very cool. I will get
Mhm.
those both out. Big Jim, I may have your I may have your address. I probably do have it, but just if you don't think I have it, just please put it in Whisper, and it goes into the U.S. Postal Service database. So congrats, everyone. Thank you for a great show, Anna. Thank you, Anna and Mike. You'll see me again
Thank you,
tomorrow
Jim.
night with most of my crew except for Tom. Tom's on vacation in
Yeah.
Hardby. Trust me, it's a one-shotter, so we gotta. you'll see. I got your address, Bill. Rocks, I got yours. There's no doubt I have your address. We're good. I got yours. So, I guess we'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay.
All right, everyone have a
Yeah.
good one.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
let's give Stella. Please hang in and give Stella, if you haven't follow, because Stella is doing Greyhawk Con and also is helping me with the Greyhawk Con artwork that
Oh,
Carson Druitt is working on, and it's going to be awesome, and that's being worked on. So Stella's doing a lot for the community, so please
Yep.
give her a follow when we hop over there. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow night. Have a good one. Oh, thanks.
thank you.
All right, let me set this up. Go in. Stella's dad, Geek Dice, is playing the game too, so there you go. Raiding in. Let's see if we can get over 70. Close. That's good. 64. Awesome. 65. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you tomorrow night. Make sure that worked.
I think you did.
apparently there's an